Dirty love. Welcome to the Flick Lab.
What the hell was that? Honestly.
That was the bar song, goddammit. You must remember. Dirty love. Did it? Okay.
Never, ever do that one again. That was absolutely hideous. And I did okay that the Promised Land opening soundbite gag which you proposed.
You've got a good voice, man.
Okay, but since Tom is back with us, I guess everybody guessed that it's once again 007 episode.
Frankland. Tom Frankland.
Yeah.
Cucumber sandwich.
Afternoon tea. Welcome back. Can't wait to get this party started. Alright, so Bond's license here may have been revoked, but our license to podcast is still intact.
Or then not. Because Americans were apparently too stupid to understand what the fuck means revoked.
That, or they decided that the words together, the license revoked, is that they have too many associations for driving when they hear the word revoked. So I've heard two versions of this. Anyway, the decision was MGM's.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the production team's side here and simply count in the... Or simply read it as such that MGM did not have enough faith in the American audiences.
Well, license revoked has the problem as the original name that it also doesn't tell what the hell is being revoked. Well, was it your driving's license or your human rights or?
Yeah, well, the same problem goes for the license to kill, because most throughout the film Bond does not have his license to kill. Like it's most definitely license not to kill.
Kind of logically wise, the revoked makes more sense, but then when you think about it, license to kill, it can also refer to the whole adventure that starts and is related to his license to kill, which he loses.
But it really isn't that much in the end. His whole kill license is kind of a background noise throughout the film. It does play a small aspect. The story mostly in the third act when Q shows up and has to kind of be unofficially helping Bond since the MI6 is not this time covering Bond's back. But other than that, the whole license thing really does not play out that much.
Tom, your thoughts?
You know, whether Bond has a license or not, he still kills anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, rogue to kill.
It doesn't really matter whether he has a license to kill, because he just kills anyway.
So it goes. Okay, so License to Kill, second film by Dalton in the Bondosphere. The most daring move for Bond since the release of Dr. No proclaimed the official License to Kill DVD, Blu-ray, blah 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 documentary. So even harder edged Bond than before in The Living Daylights. It suited Timothy Dalton, or did it?
Well, it did. It did not suit the franchise, which went into hibernation for quite some time.
Not sure if these are really related. The fact is that there was a lot of competition that summer for License to Kill, which we can get to later. But there was Ghostbusters 2 and whatever else, like 4 other films during the summer. So it might have been kind of choked.
When it comes to license, the complaint I have run across numerous times is that people feel that License to Kill is too dark and too violent, and the fact that it's not really even a spy thriller. License to Kill is very kind of a low edge, down to the ground revenge flick, which is something that basically every other franchise and every other action star also could do. Like, my friend got killed by, or got mauled by a truck boss. That's something that is a kind of a go-to plot for Schwarzenegger, or Stallone, or Van Damme, or any other big-name action star, or even not that great action star. And in that sense, it's kind of it's a plot structure that really does not scream out 007.
You're kind of right. Include the plot and then include the Timothy Dalton's performance as Bond, which is this kind of a realistic style. He's very pissed off type of acting. Well, there's a lot of range throughout the film, so in that way it's fitting Timothy Dalton. But Well, we will definitely get to this, but there is a lot of range, but I felt that Timothy Dalton could have been smiling a little bit more in this film, or be a little bit more jokey. But let's see. Let's do a full analysis, babies.
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. So they turn more to the Ian Fleming type of James Bond, or that's what they say anyway. And what makes you want to have a license to kill? Tom, Henrik.
Well, basically every other random asshole I run across.
Yeah, like your co-host.
Pretty much, yeah. It's your luck that Tom is only a visiting guest and I myself am not a member of MI6.
Of course, you would say that, wouldn't you? Or maybe you are a member of MI6.
Oh.
I guess I'm lacking a nationality. You would have to be a born British citizen to be qualified.
I don't think so. I think Bond gets quite a lot of helpers from foreign countries.
He does, but he does get it in form of either a governmental help, like a foreign intelligence agency or foreign government is helping MI6, and because of this they are helping Bond, or then through some kind of a freelance consultant.
If a member of the Taliban can help Bond, I'm sure a Finnish person can help Bond.
Thanks, that's nice. It was a very timely film, in a sense like The Living Daylights, so it's once again dealing with drugs. Guys, you didn't tell me last time which one is your favorite. Don't tell me, don't, shut up. Sorry. So tell me at the end of this episode. I think we're gonna have the full analysis. We were going to do like the best and the worst Bond films from each actor, so I guess we will see which one was the best and the worst.
This is kind of a hard question.
Yeah. With Dalton, Dalton is the actor from whose Bond filmography it is the hardest call.
Because I'm a massive fan of Dalton, so...
Okay, I wasn't quite expecting. I was going to be expecting maybe a little less excitement for this film than you probably had before watching the film, if that makes sense. Or not. But I was expecting a lot of License to Kill fanboyism for this episode. Okay, License to Kill. They began reworking this Bond 15 script for some License to Kill early treatment. Went to China, looked for original locations, but they didn't work out. Yeah, the team had already talked about the chase sequence along the Great Wall and fight scenes amongst the Terracotta Army. The plot outlines were also made about a drug lord in the Golden Triangle of the Southeast Asia. And one of the early treatments also has Bond and Leiter joining a US Army commando team to raid the Central American compound of Klaus Sanchez. And then it carries pretty much on as we know it in the film. Pam is also called by everyone as Pambo because of her tough, masculine ways, and she was supposed to be very buff, actually, kind of like the sister of Rambo or something like that. They didn't go with it, of course, but...
Wow.
Letters from Pambo, the name, were used in her full name, Pam Bouvier. Pam Bouvier.
I kind of heard that MGM did not... eventually did not let the production the rights to actually take the film to China. Most likely, and this is only suspicions, but suspicions that have also been echoed by the production crew. The reasoning for that would have been the budgetary reasons and the attempt to save money in production as much as possible.
Yep. So the original Bond 15 treatments for The Living Daylights had a character called Betsy Bedwell, and she is back also in the License to Kill treatment now as somebody who is a Eurasian mistress for Sanchez. And Sanchez also tries to fake his own death by flying a plane to Buckingham Palace, and then Bond is wearing inside this plane fitted dentures matching Sanchez's teeth. Like, oh my god, what? These treatments are so weird. However, Bond pulls the plane up just in time. Sanchez plans to have plastic surgery to disappear, but never gets to that point as he is captured and taken into prison. Bond has sex with Betsy Bedwell, and Moneypenny at the end of the film tries to call him on behalf of M to say that all has been forgiven, just like in the film, but Bond unhooks the phone.
That's typical Bond.
Yeah, not giving a shit about the fact that does he still have his job back, and is he out of the possible MI6 kill list.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of the For Your Eyes Only ending.
Kinda, yeah. Now that you mention it.
So only post-production and song re-recording, or sound re-recording, were done at Pinewood. Yeah, they were mainly filming in Mexico. But they had some problems here. Like Writer Guild of America went on strike, which meant that Richard Maybaum was mostly unavailable. This is very much a Michael Wilson script. They were looking for some kind of a Manuel Noriega situation, where the government is run by a drug lord. Then, of course, we have the title song, which is from Gladys Knight.
Oh,
Any thoughts about this?
fantastic song. Oh, yeah, I have thoughts. Brilliant. I really love this song. It's the best.
It's one of my faves as well.
From start to finish, it's just genius.
Dirty Love! Not as genius as that.
Stop, please.
Oh. Okay, well, carrying on. Initially, Vic, Rick and Eric Clapton were asked to perform the title song, but producers killed it and went with Gladys Knight. Couldn't find this song. Would have been interesting. There's a lot of planned songs for Bond films out there on interwebs if you want to look for them. Hey, do you want to do a little bit of an exception and go completely nerdy here? So, Tom, do you have anything about the trailers?
Enticing.
Yeah, the main trailer starts off like a horror trailer with the Michael Kamen's music. But then the Michael Kamen changes into the 1962 version of the James Bond tune in the middle of it, which I thought was goofy. I really like Michael Kamen's renditions of the James Bond tune here. At least the trailers are starting to be now a little bit more mature, composed, like more seriously taken. But there could be a lot to be said about the trailers of these days. I mean, they are so by the numbers that I really start to hate each and every trailer that comes out nowadays. Teaser trailer is kind of silly, the use of Dalton there with his switching beeping things on his weird timer. Although, funny thing is Dalton kind of makes it seem serious business since the guy can act. It has some kind of a demo sound effects in the background and pretty good lines like, "How many times can a man take your breath away? When you get on his bad side, your number is up."
Ooh.
Sounds actually like Don LaFontaine, the famous trailer dude.
It started off sounding kind of sexual.
Yeah, there was severe pressure on the budget to keep it down. They didn't want to leave Pinewood, but they did actually. Went to Mexico to see if they could save in the budget. Budget eventually was $32 million still. Studio was in shit condition, it was raining through the freaking floor.
Of course.
Yeah, so they had to make a lot of arrangements, and I don't know how cost effective this was than fixing everything in the studio. Would it be scene by scene?
Yeah, why not?
Yep.
Yep.
Because I'm wondering if we have to.
No, we don't. No, we can simply quickly jump to the quickies. Skip the scene by scene.
Oh,
Yeah, we need more. Much
more. Okay, music. Michael Kamen. John Barry was not available due to throat surgery, but he never actually returned to the franchise after The Living Daylights. So Michael Kamen was chosen to do it. Glenn, the director, picked him, thinking he could do the closest job to John Barry, which is really funny because they sound nothing. They are completely different, but then again, they have some instruments there that kind of sound similar. It's kind of in the same spirit, but still completely different. Less bombastic, huge. And of course, he's very much known for also The Lethal Weapon and Die Hard.
Yeah.
What do you think about this gun barrel? I think it's one of my total all-time favorites because of this music provided by Kamen.
It was fantastic. Just really, really fantastic. just the best. Just the best gun barrel ever. I mean, just
one
perfect.
of the best ever created.
Yeah, perfect. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm sensing some sarcasm here.
No.
Unbelievable, amazing. Stupendous.
It's just superb.
Brilliance. Okay.
Something that really is breaking new ground with the gun barrel is the fact that after Bond shoots the bullet through the gun barrel or right at the audience, usually it then turns into a white ball of light that hovers down to the right side, right lower side of the screen. And here it actually appears and stays in the middle, and the image kind of comes from the middle of the screen once the film starts properly.
True. Somebody's getting an expert with the gun barrels.
It really was good.
In the early days, I think they used more of that it would just turn into a white ball and then it would just kind of change immediately to the film itself.
Gift from God. Fantastic.
And also this, according to one technician, this is the first digitally composited gun barrel. All right, so we have some kind of an observation room for the DEA or something like that. We hear Michael Wilson, producer at the time, and he always had, for a long time now, his cameos in the Bond franchise. Was it since The Spy Who Loved Me or something like that? And here he's having a voice cameo at the moment. He says this, "I hope they can still get the bastard." Fantastic. Then we get to the 7 Mile Bridge. So this was filmed in Florida, Key West, where they shot a lot of the first half of the film. Now, you sure you got the ring? Relax, Felix. Felix is getting married.
Yeah, and as a wedding gift to Felix, DAA is going to ruin his wedding.
Yeah.
Good friends and all that.
Explain to Della.
I mean, he's already the shittiest husband. I mean, he's just left on a job on his wedding day.
Yeah?
Yeah. But he's sending his black henchman to explain the situation to his wife. or soon to be wife.
Oh, that's okay then.
We have David Hedison returning as Felix Leiter. My goodness. Yeah, obviously played the same role alongside Roger Moore, much more in Live and Let Die. Acted also in The Fly in the 1958 film. And also was with much more in the Saint TV series.
More.
Way more. Scenes are beautiful in August of 1988, regardless of the fact that it was raining every day at that time of the year. They had to stop shooting around 4 p.m. every time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it rained like clockwork every single day at 4 p.m.
Precipitation.
Precipitation was going on. Our returning guest, Precipitation. Felix Leiter wants Timothy Dalton strictly as an observer because Sanchez is in the Bahamas and Felix wants to go catch the bastard. And Bond joins. Yeah, guys, alright. Wasn't this an amazing scene with the helicopter and Felix Leiter and Bond handing him the ring?
It sure was. It was a really fun scene.
It was amazing.
And whilst I wouldn't say it was straying into the realm of science fiction, it was kind of far-fetched. You know? Yeah, this doesn't seem very likely. Nevertheless, it was quite fun to watch.
Yeah. But anyway, as far as I'm concerned, one of the greatest moments for me in the cinema history.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was really, really, really fantastic.
The best ever?
More.
Well, if nothing else, at least it's very complicated stunt work at play here.
Yeah.
That's true.
But Henrik, you know what? Here we have Dario Benicio del Toro.
Who looks so goddamn young.
Honeymoon.
22. At the time, the youngest member of the entire actor group. Yeah.
You look at him. You look at Benicio here in License to Kill, and then you look at his later films, and you can just ask yourself what the hell actually happened.
I agree because his face is so rugged later on.
Yep.
It has seen a hell of a lot of life.
Yep. Not to like give the image that it's a bad thing. Not at all. But it's the contrast to the License to Kill babyface Benicio is really remarkable.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but didn't he play Che Guevara in the film?
He did in that two-parter.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah. Yeah, Benicio del Toro went in and didn't think his audition was that good. So he walked back and said, "Let me do it again." he did again. And John Glenn said that he was kind of a really fresh face at the time, which he of course was, kind of up to the minute in his performance and kind of laid back. Quote, real menace in a quirky sort of way. Agreed.
And he's kind of a good-looking bastard too.
Oh my god, yes. Isn't he ever? Actually, like, nobody gives a flying damnation, but probably one of my first crushes.
And that doesn't surprise me, because, in fact, he doesn't look too good now, because he's now kind of old, but, I mean, the only thing wrong with him in the film is his tooth. He has, like, a silver tooth.
Nobody was asking you, Gringo.
Oh.
Yeah, but this was a prop that was especially given for him for this role. I think it's kind of a good idea. Fits the guy.
More.
Way more.
Much more. No, way more.
Yeah. What did he promise? His heart. Give him his heart. So this is actually the first scene that was shot when they started filming. July 18th, 88, in the Studios Churubusco Stage 2. And Davi reckoned that ripping a guy's heart was a strong entry and a romantic gesture. And Davi also got fan mail that somebody enjoyed this whipping sequence very much.
Oh.
Yeah, apparently the Talisa Soto spanking scene is something that ringed very true and was appreciated by the BDSM community.
It's more than spanking, it's just outright violence.
Well, there again, it's not the first time that this has been, or things like this has happened in Bond films.
Yeah, true.
But this most definitely is the first time when you are supposed to, as an audience member, you are supposed to go against your kind of a franchise conditioning and now be aghast by it.
Here we get naturally to the cuts of the film, because this was quite heavily censored in television around the world. We can concentrate on the UK at the moment. BBFC, the authority in the UK called Heavy Cuts, asked 36 seconds to be removed from the film. That is a lot of film. And it was only in 2006, when the Ultimate Edition DVD was released, that it was finally without cuts. And there wasn't much of a fanfare. It wasn't like said in the cover, as far as I remember. It was just a release. And now it was without cuts. And it's still the only Bond film rated 15 by the BBFC. I think today the audience would probably not care, and not even the BBFC. Anyway, these cuts involve about 7 different scenes. There's the whip scene. It was cut so that the actual whipping is not there. You just cut to Talisa Soto's sad face, and then it goes to the car shot, which comes next. Then there is a sound effect which is softened when Killifer hits the guy on the head with the end of the rifle inside the truck. So in the censored version it's something like, and then in the actual version it's like, small differences. Then there is the shark scene, of course, really shittily recut in the UK version. Like, it's just putting them in a pretty weird order. The last shot that we get of Felix is when he's rolling, when the shark is taking control. And then you got to the shot where Sanchez is just giving the hand wave signal that we can get him back up. So it's shorter, it's messy. Then we have a death of Lottie. Lottie is the ninja woman in the later parts of the film, who gets shot by Heller, I believe. Then there is Crest's death. It has the difference that in the uncut version, you don't see the actual head exploding. And the normal version, it explodes on your face. Then there is Dario's death. The part of where he goes for the final death cry, it's removed. So it's a little bit shortened to make it as short as possible. And same logic applies to Sanchez's death. The flamey Sanchez shots are kept as short as is possible. And then I believe there is also Heller death cut in some way, but I don't know what they did with that. Well, when it comes to the Finnish cuts, the only cut that I can remember definitely being there was the exploding head of Crest. So it would show the expanding head, but it would cut to Perez, one of the bad guys, when it actually explodes. Yeah.
But all the cuts are somewhat surprising, seeing how most of the violence in the film, in the end, is not that graphic, and quite often it's implied. Like you, for example, to give the most obvious example, would be the Felix Leiter shark scene, which, of course, when you see it, you understand what's happening, and what's happening is pretty damn horrifying. But you still don't, in the end, you don't see actually that much.
You don't. Maybe it was a combination of things that they censored this a little bit, because perhaps the censors were prepared for something softer, and what they watched that night was not up to their expectation.
But something that may have played out with the censors might be the reprisal of the Alfred Hitchcock Psycho situation, where once again the actual short film is not that graphic and does not show you that much like hard violence on the screen. But because of how the images play out and the implications that the audience carries with it, when they see the scene, they kind of start to insert these more graphic and more violent scenes or frames in their mind into the film.
Henrik, any words about Robert Davi?
Well, what about Robert Davi? He has been in that action movie that you have seen.
Yeah.
Like, if you have watched your shared number of action movies, Robert Davi has been there, because the dude has pretty much, like, he has acted with Schwarzenegger and with Bruce Willis, with Sylvester Stallone. He has done adventure comedies like The Goonies. So most likely, if you watch action movies, you are familiar with Robert Davi.
Yeah, of course, everybody remembers him from Die Hard as well, even though not a big role, but effective policeman. He also plays Jake in The Goonies, and will actually reprise that role in The Goonies 2, which is now announced. There was Expendables 3 playing Goran Vata. Also, you can hear his voice in the GTA Vice City, actually. And he was in Predator 2 as Captain Phil Heidemann.
And most notably, he was in Maniac Cop 3, Badge of Silence.
We're picking the quality productions. What about Benicio del Toro's shit list?
The same goddamn situation as with Robert Davi. Except Benicio has landed maybe more appreciated Academy Awarded films. Like, for example, the Sicario movies and the Usual Suspects and Traffic. All which have been very much critically acclaimed movies. Unlike, for example, Robert Davi's Schwarzenegger Corporation Raw Deal, which is just a kind of a B-action movie, nobody remembers it.
Yeah, from the higher end you have Rosario, Traffic, Sin City, The Usual Suspects, yeah, Guardian of the Galaxy, 21 Grams.
But that's kind of the running theme with the male actors of License to Kill. Pretty much all of the male cast managed to have a really long-lasting and quite good careers. Like a lot of films and a lot of roles that are kind of iconic and roles that you immediately remember once you hear who that actor was in any given film. To give you the kind of most, like, to really highlight this point, there is Frank McRae, who plays Sharky in this film and appears only in handful of scenes, being kind of a second-hand henchman helper to Timothy Dalton's Bond. Does not do that much in the film, but the dude still managed to have a role where he appeared in Loaded Weapon 1, or was Schwarzenegger's boss, Police Commissioner Decker in The Last Action Hero. So roles and films you most definitely are familiar with.
Yeah, but overall I would say that not many of these people who gave their contributions for the film had promising careers.
I don't know. I would say that only goes to the woman of the film.
Yeah, typical.
The Talisa Soto and Karri Ojala, who both, for the dentist part, and this is bit unfair for them, because they both did try. Like, my god, did the two ladies of the film really try to have a careers after License to Kill? Talisa Soto went on and did the Mortal Kombat films. He was kind of the leading femme fatale in Spy Hard. And like there were these real attempts to hit more mainstream, more blockbuster films, which would give her more prominent role in Hollywood. Well, that really didn't pan out. And well, same goes with poor Karri Ojala, who after this one appeared in Sleepless in Seattle, worked with Friedkin in The Guardian, and in the end she works as like a bank teller in Leaving Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So once again, real directors, real films, and still not that highlight Hollywood career for her.
Gunfight. So this is a little bit of a different pre-title opening sequence, because there is no beautiful woman to conquer this time, or any of the other cliches really in the pre-title sequence, except the lavish action. Bond jumps from the helicopter. Interestingly, nobody's shooting at him until he lands from the helicopter. And just before he jumps to the ground, you can actually see the baddie shooting, but there is no gun sound. Hey, observer! And Talisa Soto is there playing Lupe. And this is now kind of a lady who doesn't want Bond's help for a change. So definitely to a different path right off the gate. Just says to take your hands off me, just go away. Would never happen in a Roger Moore film.
Much more.
Kind of never actually happened after Dalton's era in the franchise altogether. Now there is a huge fuss because reportedly in what is the latest one?
No Time
to
Die.
Die. Too Busy to Die. Something like that. Apparently there is similar type of scene, and the internet has once again gone apeshit.
Okay, that's funny. Yeah, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is going to be one of the so-called script polishers this time. There was a polisher definitely for Casino Royale, and now we have this kind of a same thing going on. And there's a huge fuss because Waller-Bridge is known for kind of writing very like equal characters. Like you have female characters who have actually brain, as well as the Bond and the other characters. So it's going to be interesting to see if she indeed has, given more brain quality and character for the female characters in Bond films. After all, there's only been one female writer before. Was it for From Russia with Love? There was a credit for Johanna Harwood. And so it's interesting to see if they just create better characters, or is it going to be some kind of a overdone social justice kind of approach? Because there is also these reports, I don't know how much I should think about them, but one of the leading actors, I forgot her name, the black woman, told in an interview that they had even been she had been throwing around ideas for Waller-Bridge that, hey, maybe we could go like this, that in one scene my character puts a new tampon on and then throws the old tampon away to the garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the big fuss is once again supposed to be.
Well, because
that's really like that's what 5 seconds of film at max in once again in a movie that goes over 2 hours.
Sure, but why?
I don't think that we are like breaking any walls here or
I think we are
through any roof.
I think we are, because why? It's kind of the same as putting like camera to toilet and then watch James Bond. That's what it's kind of equal to. So we don't need to know that. It's a private moment.
Sexy.
I don't know. I don't feel this level of hostility in the end towards a moment that is supposed to be pretty non-meaningful. Like
exactly.
Yeah,
it's just there to make a statement.
Why get your amps up about it?
Because it's there to make a statement. It's there not to be any kind of equality in the film.
But then again, then again, film itself always is making statements. One way or the another. I mean, today's film, License to Kill, is very much making a statement about the necessity of war on drugs. And the whole kind of anti-drug hysteria that was sweeping through the West and US at the time. I mean, this film came out something like 3 months before Bush Sr. made that infamous, "In here I have a bag of crack cocaine," which was pulled out of the park right next to the White House speech. And the whole slew of shitstorm, the whole war that started. So, yeah, very much state-making film also.
Yeah, much more fitting than someone throwing tampons, but okay.
I once again, like, since it really doesn't affect anything that much, like 5 seconds, I can't muster the strength to actually get my feelings hurt or feeling angry about 5 seconds.
No, but nobody is saying that it's making me feel angry, but it's not needed in the story arc in any way. It's just there to make a statement that is not related actually to the film or any kind of a plot. It's just, there. Because you could actually make intelligent decisions in the film. I hope this is not going to be a scene in the film and this was just off-thrown remark. Like,
It's one of those scenes which are supposed to kind of ground it more into the reality. Show everyday stuff. Remind you how this is real. And enhance that illusion. Or something like that.
Let's move on. Plane scene. Timothy Dalton insisted that he wants to do his own stunts as much as possible. And they had a kind of a contraption where he was hanging maybe a few feet in the air. And the plane that he was going to touch was, of course, on the ground, on some kind of a pedestal thing. But the actual, high altitude job was done by a stunt. When Cubby came to the scene, he was like horrified coming from his big limo and his cigar in mouth, and then checking out, the stunt coordinator and checking out Dalton. He was flying in the air and he was like, "Oh my God, get this guy down. You can't hurt my leading star." So always taking a good care. Plane was on a gimbal rig. Dalton said about his acting in the stunt parts or in the tougher parts that, quote, "If you believe it's me, it's me. If you can see it's me, it's me. The audience should just quite simply believe that the man, the character they're watching, James Bond, does them." I agree. It was too obvious in the Roger Moore films who was doing the performance.
I don't know. Like, I never actually figured out what the fuck Dalton was trying to say with that statement.
He was trying to say that the audience has to believe that James Bond is doing the actual stuff there.
Yeah. So is it calling out the somewhat obvious at times stunt work in Roger Moore films, or is it putting the pressure on the audience that when you are sitting on the bench, when you are watching the film, you should believe that that's me and that's James Bond you are seeing on the screen?
Sounds far-fetched.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he doesn't make any obvious references to Roger Moore films. Like, no film is actually called out. Roger Moore is not called out. His stuntmen are not called out. He's simply making a statement that, like, what he's saying, if I can remember word by word, the audience should believe it's me.
Yeah, he is making a statement that it should be made as believable as possible. That's, the whole point.
I know. I mean, that's once again, that is a question of reading, like how you read that statement.
Yeah, okay.
He doesn't word that out. He doesn't say that directly.
So what do you think he's saying? Is he's just forcing the audience, like, "Now, motherfucker, believe my movie, or I will sue you."
It actually could be what he's implying there. Hey, audience, remember to believe that it's me. Remember to believe that is Bond.
Okay, they got a great entry for David Hedison. He landed from a crane in front of the church, and they thought they could even get an even better shot, so Glenn asked the crane driver to go a little bit faster, and the next time he just smashed very harshly on the cement and it hurt like hell. And for the rest of the filming, he was limping all through the film.
All those 12 seconds which he actually needed to walk anywhere.
Yeah, ouch. Yeah, there were other problems that Edison faced as well. I mean, he was given the script on the same day that they started shooting, like maybe a couple of hours before they were about to shoot, and he felt always really bad about it, that he was not able to prepare properly because he was somewhere else and he was waiting to receive the script, and then it was 3 days before filming, 2 days, 1 day, and nothing happened, and then he had to go there, and he got a copy from Barbara Broccoli. And there was at least one scene, or some scenes, that he said that he can definitely see how he was unprepared for the shooting. I can't tell which scene that really is. I think he did a pretty good job. Well, title sequence. Morris Binder at it for the last time. The man who famously put the Vaseline on the lens to hide women's private parts.
Ooh.
Yeah, the title sequences, they were always coming so late that there was no time to make changes to them. I think that was the whole plan of Binder. Don't touch my art. And this is definitely one of my favorite title sequences of the entire series, because I finally feel that this might be his best one. I think it has a very good composition, and it is very clear, and it seems to be that a lot of thought was put into this time.
Well, in technical sense, yeah. When it comes to motif or theme, I really don't understand what the hell the title sequence is trying to do here.
You're referring probably to the ladies with these little dresses on.
I'm referring to the whole Olympus camera theme. Like, what is it supposed to clue us back, foreshadow that moment when Bond gets that really goofy? It's a camera. It's a sniper rifle signature weapon in the film.
No.
I also am not that interested about all these still shots of women and once again there's silhouettes that simply spin around. Like, to me this just is not that interesting visual wise.
Okay, I think it's a winner from my end. I didn't have a problem with the camera. I never thought that it would be related into the film very much in any way, and it doesn't bother me also in any way. But of course, if you want to look at it, well, I just thought that it could be tied to the church. Somebody's taking photographs on the background if you want.
It could be like it can be any of the things, or it can be absolutely nothing. With the opening title sequence images, that the camera is the running motif. We are looking at photographs, and the shots of the camera are kind of they are the envelope or the front and the back end. They are the bookings of the title sequence visuals. And I never really saw what was the point with that. Like, what are they supposed to mean? Why is the entire title sequence constantly going back into Olympus camera and in the photographs? Because the movie is not about photography.
Never thought that it was I thought it was just a clever transition to the title sequence and back.
Yeah, I kind of was missing a meaning. Like, I wish there would have been more meaning in it, and I wish that the visuals would have been kind of more inventive, more not in technical sense, because in technical sense, yeah, there's a lot of things going on, and in technical sense they are quite inventive, but in what you are being shown as visuals and in meaning, I would have kind of I wish they would have been more inventive.
What about Tom? One of the best ever?
It's brilliant. Just brilliant. It's just fantastic.
That's all you need to say. But Henrik, if you're looking for stunning visuals, you could also check out the License to Kill Gladys Knight music video.
And that is fantastic. That really is good.
That is so fucking 80s. Done by somebody's son in their garage. But I mean, I kind of like it looked like a GoldenEye title sequence at times with these girls dancing on small pedestals and coming through the iris. Oh god, so 80s type of editing. Like it's like somebody using the Windows Movie Maker.
That's rough. That's rough.
All right,
Fucking
right.
shots fired.
And then we have Sanchez and 2 million for the best Banana Republic for today. Coast Guard is interrogating. It would be 936 years for Sanchez. But he says 2 million US, which is the new offer to get Sanchez out. And then Gillifer goes, of course, like, God damn it, you think you're in some kind of a Banana Republic or something?
Well, obviously, in the end,
Well,
he took it.
Obviously.
Yeah. They actually do quite clever bait and switch here at this moment. Because when Sanchez works out the 2 million offer, the camera actually takes a close-up on the blackguard in the room and draws your attention to him, kind of a highlight, and his facial expressions, kind of a implying you the image that is the guy who is going to betray the whole operation and spin out Sanchez. And in the end, it turns out that no, that guy was being completely honest here.
From which we get to meeting Pam. Lowell has a shorter hair. In the later parts of the film, she had to wear a wig for these office scenes, and Dalton says the line, "I'll do anything for a woman with a knife." It comes very much with his own accent. They talk about letter of silver Sanchez's law. We are introduced to the secret disc, which is held behind the pic of Della. Well, Della, Priscilla Barnes. Anything about her?
She's good looking.
Okay. Played Gloria Sullivan in The Devil's Rejects by Rob Zombie, and I don't think there's many highlights here to say otherwise.
Didn't you guys find the wedding kind of creepy?
Yes, I did.
Like Bondi's kissing the wife and stuff?
Not that part.
Oh, really?
It's the Kiss the Bride day. Gillifer is also there only to kiss the bride.
That's not how it works here.
You think? But if they're really, 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 really good friends.
It doesn't matter. It's just kind of like, it's just typical Bond, you know?
You know what it is? It's dirty love. Okay.
It sure is dirty. And I don't know why the bride flings the underwear at Bond either, which is also very creepy.
Yeah, because it's for the next one who is going to be married. But Bond says, no.
Yeah, passing or throwing the bride stocking, it's supposed to be some kind of a wedding tradition. Like, some way, in the same way as throwing the flower bouquet.
Mm.
Never understood it, never understood the bouquet. I have an inkling feeling that that's once again some kind of a tradition that has been at some point imported from America. But I'm not certain. I'm not a professional on weddings, thank God.
Yeah. But this is a very important scene actually, because it gives more reason for Timothy Dalton Bond to go on his revenge mission. Because it's not only about like killing Della and then getting the leg cut off from Felix Leiter, but also his personal history with his own marriage. And now he kind of feels the same way. Those same feelings have returned.
A flashback.
Yeah, but before this, of course, Ed Gillifer has killified the truck and dropped it into the ocean. Immediately, like a bloody face upon impact on the guy's face. So gets Sanchez out. In real life, this was like a radio-controlled truck driven off the 7-mile bridge with 30-40 miles per hour. Well, there is the kind of a key moment where Dario and his friend, is it Pedro, are coming to Felix Leiter's house, and then the wife is screaming. And we get to the Crest scene. Crest says, "Bringing a cop here is nuts." This is the friend of Franz Sanchez. They're waiting for Dario before going to Cuba.
Honeymoon!
Yeah, that moment. Milton Crest, this character name was from a book, Live and Let Die, by Ian Fleming. Davi was responsible for the touchstone piece of dialogue, quote, "Loyalty is more important to me than money." So Bond betrays that loyalty later, like hurts him like hell. And if you analyze all the violence, like Davi explained, every act of violence that Sanchez commits, this is in reaction to what's being stepped on him. So he was talking about a chess match example. If there were a chess match, he was attacked before he retaliated. He would be Donald Trump if he was in legitimate business. So this is a common track from, I believe, 1999 or 2000.
You know, Sanchez really is kind of like a noble villain in a way. He's not all bad.
No, he has this principle of trust and being a good friend for the people he trusts.
I don't know. I took him simply as a dickbag, through and throughout.
But a loyal dickbag.
Yeah, if you go through all the inflicted violence that he does upon others, like, this is a really extremely brutal, ruthless character, which deserves zero love.
Yeah, and he's kind of he's the most lethal character of the film. Like, most of the kills that happen in License to Kill are actually Sanchez killing his own henchmen because of Bond's antics.
Exactly. It's like this collapsing the whole organization from inside out.
Yeah, mostly by Bond implying things to Sanchez. Like, you have a traitor in your organization. Somebody wants to kill you. And that gets Sanchez's suspicions, and later Bond plants evidence, and Sanchez kills one of his friends.
Yeah, this is the Yojimbo type of approach in License to Kill, sowing the seeds of distrust from the inside. Michael Wilson was very conscious about it. He said, quote, that without any attacking of the villain or its cohorts, only sowing the seeds of distrust, he manages to have the villain bring himself down, end quote. And he admitted that he was getting more inspiration from Yojimbo and Sergio Leone's A Fistful of Dollars, which is essentially a remake of Yojimbo, as I understand.
Yep.
So
it is.
And these were the main inspiration instead of, for example, The Man with the Golden Gun, which has something similar in the book.
And I kind of like it a lot. Like, granted, it does rob Bond himself those action moments where Bond does the killing, like in typical Bond fashion. But at the same time, it is a bit more intelligent. Like, Bond here is playing more of a chess game than in a typical James Bond film.
Yeah, we could talk about Karri Ojala. So, spent her childhood in Libya and has lived in several countries. International woman, became a model. These are both ex-models, Talisa Soto and Karri Ojala. Was married to Richard Gere, among others. Latest marriage, she ended it while License to Kill was shooting. Yeah, about the lighter. If you check out the lighter scene, you can see that this cable that is coming to the lighter when Bond lights it up. Unfortunately, it's coming from under his cuff. Yeah, but Milton Crest doesn't like this Ed Kilifer guy. I don't like it. He can finger me.
Wow.
I don't know. Wouldn't you want to be fingered by Ed Kilifer? Okay, the joke quality is getting out of hand.
The joke actually, or the theme of fingering wasn't that bad yet at this point in time. Like, fingering became extremely troublesome word after Alien Covenant.
Is there fingering?
There is fingering in that one.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Michael Fassbender fingers himself there.
Fast blender.
For quite some time, actually.
Yeah, but in this film, loyalty is more important to me than money and fingering. There's Spanish being spoken, there's a Spanish accent, so Robert Davi was very much trying to learn the Colombian accent. Some of the Colombians came to Robert Davi, approached him in some way and told him that, so are you Colombian or something? So apparently it worked really well.
Robert Davi also really didn't want to let go of his character. After the shootings were done for the day and they had their free time, their time off, and they went, for example, into the restaurant, Robert Davi still held on to his character and the mannerisms of Sanchez. Like, when he ordered the table, he kind of commanded this drug lord presence from the waitering staff. For example,
That's true. And the waiters were like, okay. But,
yeah, we get you that table, sir.
Rest of the crew laughing.
Davi also was the go-to comedian of the production crew, as far as I've understood. Like he also played tricks on other members of the cast, like Benicio.
Yeah, Davi was a practical joker. For example, later on in the shooting, he had a false nose and a cigar, and then Glenn expected him coming to the set as Sanchez, but came and appeared as the Marx Brothers. The Marx Brothers were kind of these entertainers from the oldies but goodies films of the US.
Yeah, that also was the one instance when he phoned Benicio's hotel room, like somewhere in the early hours of the morning or middle of night, and pretended to be from the costume department, and asked Benicio to show up immediately, and Benicio quickly got out of the bed, checked his hair, noticed that it was a mess, and just ran into the given direction only to find Davi and some other member of the crew there laughing.
Who would do such a thing?
Well, Robert Davi, apparently.
And of course, as mentioned before, there is this legendary quote from Benicio del Toro. So yeah, Glenn was into this Benicio's idea on playing with the dialogue around the film, such as, "We gave her a nice honeymoon." Shark eating Felix's leg. This theme is coming from Live and Let Die once again, where Felix was bitten by a shark as well. And from the short story of the Hildebrand Rarity, which is, for Euros only, this book from Ian Fleming has 5 bunch stories consisting of From a View to a Kill, For Your Eyes Only, Quantum of Solace, Risico, and the Hildebrand Rarity. And in the Hildebrand Rarity, there is this one woman and Bond, and they go with the rich guy on a boat, starting to sound like uninvited, Jesus Christ. And during this trip, the guy gets a little bit uncomfortable, and suddenly he's found dead. It's kind of a weird Bond story. The wife of David Hedison couldn't stand the first run-through of the material where her husband's leg was cut off. Like, actually, a lot of footage was shot uncut because it was too violent for the censors. And of course, there is a book by John Gardner, License to Kill, this licensed official book, but the story is quite different, I understand. I've read parts of it like freaking 25 years ago, so can't comment too much, but apparently the bad guys shares a lot of similarities to the main villain of Live and Let Die book, Mr. Big. Bond is about to take the flight. That's the next scene. For smoking or non-smoking or agent gone rogue, drug dealer has escaped, so he immediately leaves the airport to investigate. And then he goes to the Leiter's house, of course, and finds the note with the injured Felix Leiter that which reads, "He disagreed with something that ate him," which is a quote from James Bond book. "Della is dead. She has this blank stare. It came into my nightmares as a kid." So he finds Felix. What about the differences or the similarities between Daniel Craig and Timothy Dalton? Do you think there's a lot of similarities or no?
No. Oh, wait. Yeah, they're both kind of emotional Bonds, aren't they?
They're emotional, they are gritty, in a gritty film anyway. They're quite violent.
Daniel Craig seems to be more of a, I'm talking about Daniel Craig's James Bond here. Seems to be more of an alcoholic than Timothy Dalton's James Bond.
I don't think they're very similar. I mean, they are kind of gritty, violent. Daniel Craig is somebody who really looks like a boxer, ex-boxer, which he actually is. And it kind of translates into the character, and it seems like Daniel Craig is this kind of a crude, very, very rough around the edges. The kind of a guy who looks a little bit out of place when wearing a suit, as compared to Timothy Dalton, who is really this very gentlemanly and heartfelt, has a lot of passion, compassion, and he cares about people as a character, as an actor. I feel that Daniel Craig doesn't look like the guy who looks very good in a suit. It's also because I don't think they are fitting him very well at all in any of his films. They're very tight, and that's also the opinion of some professionals on the subject matter. And he also looks like the guy who shouldn't be probably wearing a suit, or looks kind of off in the suit as compared to Timothy Dalton, who is actually a gentleman, whereas Daniel Craig is kind of this rough around the edges, I don't give a shit about you type of agent.
Yeah, then again, it bears to remember that Daniel Craig films are doing that on purpose.
Yeah. There is that, yeah.
Yeah. Just to voice it out, we are not saying that Daniel Craig is bad Bond.
No.
This is done very much on purpose in the films, and we are aware of that fact.
So do you think that the less well-fitting suits could be part of the plan?
Yeah, I do actually feel very well believe that also is done on purpose. Because part of the Daniel Craig Bond is that he is still uncomfortable in the suit. Like they word it out in Casino Royale. Daniel Craig's Bond is supposed to wear a suit kind of because he believes that that's what a normal person does. And he does it kind of with disdain. Like he does it kind of mockingly.
Daniel Craig, I feel, is kind of the total reimagining of James Bond in many ways, and I feel that he's completely doing his own thing, as is Timothy Dalton. He's not trying to emulate absolutely no one, he's just doing his vision of James Bond, or what Ian Fleming wrote, and he's kind of trying to base it on that.
Dalton's approach to Bond was that the agent that Ian Fleming visioned was not a hero, and was not a good guy. That he was just as bad as the villains he faced. The divide between the two was that Bond just happens to work for the quote-unquote good guys. Works for the MI6. And because of this, even though as a person Bond is just as despicable as his enemies, his actions or his boss, MI6, okays Bond's antics still.
There was a good quote from Dalton regarding this situation. He said that, quote, "One of the interesting things about Bond is that he's just as bad as they are. I mean, the books come back to this theme time and time again. I think it's one of the reasons why, maybe if we talk about the Living Daylights before, this theme of acidity, malaise, keeps creeping back into each of the books. The real sense of distaste for who he is, what he is, in the world he's working in, because he's old enough to recognize himself. He says time and again, or someone says time and again, he's just as bad. He's a murderer, a killer, cold, cruel, ruthless killer. He just happens to be working for the side that's called good. Where Fleming is special is that he gives this man a completely opposite side and makes him very human, and makes him one of us. And so we put ourselves in his place, but recognize that side to him, which probably does lurk in all of us in some small degree or not. But oh yeah, he's just as bad as they are." End quote.
Which is kind of a, I don't know, nice, but good reading to take on Bond, because in the books also Bond has a lot of issues in the books, and this take that Fleming does that on purpose, puts all these negative aspects into Bond on purpose to highlight how Bond and his adversaries are not that different in the end. It kind of does give a reasoning for all the heinous stuff that happens in the books.
Yeah, then again I felt that I kind of had a stronger personal connection with Dalton in some sense in The Living Daylights. Like in License to Kill he's so angry, and somehow I feel he's a bit more distant to the audience. I'm not sure if the audience is fully on board. He's the British suave agent, and he has now fallen under this emotion of rage. It's Shenmue without the grace and some valuable teachings about human frailty. He's just going there with an axe, basically. Bond is in fact now like so human that James Bond is no longer something admirable, something that we look up to.
And that's kind of I guess that is the best compliment you can actually give to License to Kill. That the film is nothing like Shenmue, because Shenmue was shit.
Stop it.
Like, god damn it. We are in good hands when the film does not remind you of Shenmue.
You have completely misunderstood the whole game. That's okay.
That's what a console gamer would say. and is saying and will be saying when Shenmue 3 eventually comes out.
Okay, let's not talk about more about Shenmue.
No, let's talk about nice things. Let's talk about good things. Let's talk about License to Kill.
Yeah, but the thing is that the huge appeal that many fans have for James Bond is that he's kind of the ideal man in a sense, you know, dresses very well, he's unbeatable and doesn't sweat when he's faced with unbelievable situations. He has always this calm and he can always win everybody in some way. And too much so in Roger Moore films. But, you know, he's not the ideal guy anymore in License to Kill. He's just like any guy.
Yeah, and it's fucking great.
It is and it isn't. I think they could have made more of a bigger spectrum for Timothy Dalton in this film because he's so fucking pissed most of the time. It's starting to get a little nauseating. Like, he could smile once in a while, do some joke here and there, actually a good joke, and then carry on.
Come on, the bad guys fed a recurring character to a shark.
I mean, one of his best friends got murdered, and his other best friend got his leg bitten off. There's not much to smile about, really.
Yeah.
Sure. But for example, well, there's a scene when Bond wants the truth from Pam Bouvier later, because he has seen her with Heller. And I felt that you could kind of approach it differently. For example, like, you tell me now what this deal was about with Heller, or from now on Q needs to be my Miss Kennedy. And that wouldn't work very well, would it? Something like that. It's just gonna lighten up the mood. But the only jokester here is the practical joker, Mr. Davi. He has some good one-liners.
Well, there is that one joke when Kilfer is holding on to that wire and hanging on top of the shark pit, and Bond throws the suitcase at Kilfer, pushing him to the shark pit.
Yeah, and then he's completely stone-faced when his friend there makes the shark.
Yeah, it's a deadpan comedy, man.
Yeah, well, that always kind of turned me. That was kind of disappointing in a way.
No, it wasn't. It was goddamn enjoyable moment.
Yeah, he goes like, "What a terrible waste of money," and Bond is like, But yeah, if they would have played it the other way, that he would have smiled, I think that would have been really creepy for sure. So Felix is in the hospital. Let's pick up the pace a little bit.
Yeah, let's Key West investigation.
Yeah, Felix is in the hospital, and then they go investigate the situation, and they go into one of these white shark cellars.
Yeah, they basically have gone through all of them. They have had a list, I guess, from the phone book of people who sell white sharks.
Yeah,
and
the last
this
one is
This is the last place which they are going to check up, and as it happens, it's also the place where Felix Leiter was fed to the shark.
There is still some shit from shark hunting days. Yeah, it's actually for sale. Look, I'm kind of busy. So then Bond has to go there on a secret investigation on his own. I like this dialogue part. Goodbye, mister. Goodbye.
What an asshole.
There we have Dalton smiling. That's good.
Yeah, I don't see what's your problem. Like Dalton did smile. Film saved.
Don't read like it too aggressively. Like, I think there are so many good things in this film. It's kind of a proto Daniel Craig Bond in some ways.
It's very much proto Daniel Craig Bond. It's also most progressive James Bond film. I would almost say up to date.
Well,
like for example, when you look at how the women in of the film were, like they both kind of stand their own ground. They both are not taking the typical shit from Bond. And when it comes to the main love interest of the film, she actually turns the tables around with Bond to a point where Bond, in the end, kind of has to, well, quote unquote, chase her instead of the typical other way around, where women just enter the room and immediately fall into Bond's arms. Yeah, and in the end, Bond even has to kind of he has to prove his emotional side to the lady. instead of just wooing her over with his physical prowess, like in your typical Bond scenario, where the thing that sells Bond to any given lady is A, the fact that Bond apparently is really good in bed, and B, the fact that Bond is physically extremely capable in dangerous situation, that Bond survives the dangerous situation. In here, he has to actually showcase some type of emotional need for the woman before the woman accepts Bond.
But if we talk about women characters in the Bond franchise, there's a lot of emotions about that. Some people feel that the Bond franchise has mistreated women very, very badly. But if you really know your Bonds, then you know that that's not really always the case. Actually, I would say over half of the women characters in the leading roles in the James Bond franchise are very strong women. We can talk about them. You know, you have Ursula Andress, not very strong. Tatiana Romanova, no. Goldfinger, you have Pussy Galore, who is extremely independent and smart and strong. Then you have Thunderball, where you have Fiona Volpe, same case, has sex with Bond, but still is remaining as the baddie until the very end, and gives actually some very emotional talk about how he feels about it.
Xena on her top is very peaceful.
Yeah, she's very strong. But on Her Majesty's Secret Service, you can't argue against that. Diana Riggs character is a pretty strong female character. Diamonds Are Forever, you have Jill St. John, kind of a showcase, kind of a stupid, kind of a woman character, unfortunately, in this film. Live and Let Die. Well, there is a Solitaire character, again, a weak lady character in a sense. Then you have The Man with the Golden Gun, and oh god, you have Good Night, which is one of the worst examples. But then you have The Spy Who Loved Me, Triple X, extremely independent. You have Moonraker, same thing with Holly Goodhead. For Your Eyes Only, you have the woman with the arrow, strong character once again. Octopussy is moderately strong. A View to a Kill, Stacey Sutton is completely dependent on James Bond, so that's not good in a sense. And then the Living Daylights, yeah, she's kind of protected by Bond. But License to Kill, here we are. Again, strong characters. GoldenEye, strong. Tomorrow Never Dies, strong. Die Another Day, strong.
And they all fall head over heels for Bond, who actually treats them all pretty shittily throughout the films.
Depends. Halle Berry was fine. In License to Kill, it's fine. Daylight's fine.
I really wouldn't go that far.
Really?
Yeah.
It's kind of the theme now, like, and in every interview for the new James Bond film, the leading woman characters are saying that, oh, my character is so different from the other girls, and it's going to be so independent character, strong female character, except that we have had it for like the last 25 years already.
We have had it and we have not. Like, we have had strong female characters in the sense that there have been female characters who have been put in a role of power within the film. But that still doesn't change the fact that Bond and his magic penis is immediately going to win over any of those characters.
But you can also look at it like this, that for example, this is an ex-CIA agent in this film, and maybe she's just as of a sex maniac as James Bond, because immediately after the bar they start kissing in the boat and probably have sex under the boat. I don't know, on the lower levels, if there's something like that, some compartment. And I thought it was perfectly fine, because we can see that this woman is very independent and can make her own decisions, so it was a mutual understanding as always. I don't think Bond is out there to rape anyone, of course, but like, I don't feel that this character here is very head over heels.
I don't know. There has been cases.
Okay. Yeah. Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Pussy Galore.
Not to point any fingers, but goddammit, Bond. but more than that, like I would say when it comes to License to Kill, when it comes to female sexuality in License to Kill, that actually is the weaker moment around that topic. Like,
yeah, it was very sudden, but I feel that they are both strong and smart characters, at least.
It's an interesting question. Would you consider Xena on a top to be a Bond girl? Because she doesn't quite make it, in my view, but she very nearly does.
Like as Bond's good girl.
Oh, no.
I do count her as a Bond girl, and I actually do like her quite a lot as a Bond girl. Like, I once again feel that she is one of the better ones. One of the more stronger and more independent Bond girls of the franchise.
And sadistic and crazy.
But that also feeds into it.
She definitely gives zero fucks.
And that's what I like about her.
Excellent performance. Okay, so Bond gets into Crest's dump and is surprised by the shark. Then there's a guard who gets maggots on the face. And they meet Killifer, who is trying to shoot at Bond but fails. And you earned it, you keep it, old buddy. And drops him into the same place that lighter was chopped off. There was some kind of clarity issues in the pan-scan version because it was hard to figure out where James Bond is moving, and it was looking like he was entering the Crest facility from below, like he would have been underwater, but it turns out that there was a fish tank in front of the image. So Bond goes through some maggots, throws the maggots. This is kind of a similar gunfight to the final show-off with the showdown with Whittaker, in my opinion, in The Living Daylights. There are some similar, shots. Then we meet with Sharky, who tells something about Crest doing evil stuff very soon, like some schedule of Crests, who is kind of one of the in the chain smuggling the drugs. Crest is responsible for smuggling stuff underwater, as it turns out, and then getting it delivered to the plane. So a little teeny weeny part of Killifer was found, and that means that now Bond has to be escorted to M's temporary, some kind of quarters.
Yeah, some kind of a hideout.
And we get to the kind of a farewell to arms scene. It was the home of Ernest Hemingway, the American journalist and writer. Rogue Agent, yeah.
Yeah, Rogue Agent being a stunt that James has pulled numbers of times in the franchise. Like, it's kind of a go-to stunt of Bond. Whenever M does not agree with his point of view or how he handles the situation, Bond always quits or threatens to quit and go rogue.
But at this point, no. Up to this point, no. After this, it's going to be a more repeated moment, at least in Daniel Craig's films. Bond was supposed to be in Istanbul, but he wants to take care of this lighter mission and says that then you can have my resignation, sir. We're not a country club, 007. Robert Brown is really good as M and a very good actor, clearly.
It's a farewell to weapons.
Yeah, arms.
Yeah, it's got quite a famous book.
Yeah, so it looks like M's posse is having only like 3-4 people there to handle James fucking Bond.
Well, Bond is just supposed to, take his orders and go to Istanbul, or in worst case, quit once again.
Yeah, anyway, it leads into this ridiculous moment where Bond escapes and they try to shoot him, and then M is like, no, too many people. And then they just completely ignore him and let him go. Kind of a bad preparation, to say the least.
I don't know. I mean, what should they have expected from Bond at that moment?
That he would go to the front gate or the back gate or try to escape in some way, but nobody's there to catch him.
I think that the dude with M16 on the tower was quite adequate preparation for what they had any right to expect Bond to do in that situation. But Bond really starting to resist, giving up his gun and turning hostile against other members of MI6, including his own goddamn boss. Like, that's not also the first scenario I would have had in mind had I been M. Or at least not in typical situation. We have to kind of remember that we are dealing with Bond here.
Of course. He put on the GoldenEye video game invisibility mode and escaped. Okay, then we get to Crest's boat once again. The captain is looking for something, foreign objects on his screen, and Crest goes into the room of Lupe. And Lupe says that you are drunk, you're a borracho, Mr. Crest, and Crest is borracho. The DEA raided Key West and all the blame is put on to Lupe in this scene. And tells about the fixed phony beauty contest that she won, thanks to Sanchez. This captain is absolutely hilarious, one of my favorite characters in the film. He comes to explain something about some weird object, and he doesn't recognize that it's a manta ray or something. It clearly looks like a manta ray. And then he just doesn't push it forward in any way. It's just like, there's something weird on my screen. Oh, it's just a manta ray. Okay. So Bond stashes the guard into the pressure chamber. Sneaky Bond trying to get back to the upper level. What are the sleeping dudes doing? Not sleeping, but making some sounds, like passionately jerking off, I guess.
Ooh.
Yeah. Any thoughts on jerking off? Okay, carrying on.
Actually, I do.
Oh my god, I was supposed to say this is not that type of podcast.
You guys have no idea what happened to me last night, and I'm not going to tell you what happened to me last night.
Okay, good. Please don't.
Can I please?
I don't know.
Well, since Karri already, tried to turn this into a jerking off the podcast, by all means, go ahead.
Nah, it's not that. It's not that kind of podcast, man.
Okay.
Yeah, did you hear that, Karri?
Now I'm having some trouble hearing because aren't we catering to everybody? We have a lot of knowledge and we have the stupidity and quality jokes.
We don't have to gather to jerk offs. Because the two main hosts of the podcast already fill that quota.
Oh, that's news to me.
Well, I don't know about you.
Dirty love. Finding the guard now in the pressure chamber or whatever, depressurizing whatever the fucking machine it is. Bond goes into the suite of Lupe and make a sound and you're dead. This borracha girl gets the knife on the neck from Bond and Bond is so angry that he couldn't get his flight to Istanbul because of this bullshit. That's what it's all about. Like he said in From Russia with Love, like, where the Bosporus is unbelievable. So his name was Sharky. Bond drowns one dude. And then he shoots the guy who was joking about Sharky.
Yeah.
Shoots the dude with a harpoon.
There is this very convinced guy who says to Crest that he must have drowned Mr. Crest. Very, very believable indeed. Like, Bond is so fucking angry, but also very confident.
Yeah, it's almost like the best aspects of Bond, all put together, anger and confidence.
Mm-hmm. Crest is shooting with the pistol. Look at those facial expressions. God, the guy is getting so pissed off.
Well, wouldn't you? Like, let's be honest. In that situation, wouldn't you get pissed off also?
My father was completely not a fan of Dalton or License to Kill, especially because he thought that Timothy Dalton's Bond is just I don't like it because this is just it's like a humorless killer. That's how he put it, more or less. Anyway, but this was maybe his favorite moment from the film because you could hear from me. He was laughing at Crest saying this, "Dive, goddammit, dive!" Things are rolling completely out of control.
Yeah, Bond is starting to dope all the fish in the ocean.
Yeah. Also, is stabbing the camera to death.
He's stabbing the camera. Bond stabs pretty much everything he can get his hands on at this moment.
Then he's finally gotten to the surface. And he's pulled back under the water, and then we get a little bit of a Thunderball moment in Florida Keys where this was filmed, and then we get to the water skiing. Arthur Wooster and his second unit, they want to shoot Dalton on a specially built rig to simulate barefoot skiing. But there was this world champion skier, David Reinhardt, who did the actual jump with the kind of more wide shots, with the actual stunt behind a real seaplane. So he could also double very much for Timmy because they looked very similar. And I can't really see the actual change of the people in this scene. But there is this, which sounds to me like a comedic sound effect when Bond flips when he's water skiing. Like, and this kind of reminds me of the man with the golden gun and with the like the car flip with Sheriff
Oh,
J.W.
God.
Pepper.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that thanks for those memories.
First image that comes to your mind. Yeah. Okay, Bond is now hanging on the pontoon and throws off all the bad guys. Jake Lambert and B.J. Worthy, veterans, are doing the stunt work here. Plane which can actually be seen in flying in extremely high altitude on many occasions, but then returns way down, back to the boat, and then drops off the last guy. Bond just smiling to himself and throwing the money all over the place. I kind of enjoy that, the Bond's complete lack of interest in hard currency. Like he just wants to get his job done. Nothing else is standing on his way.
He's a very pure guy.
Yeah. Then we get to the Laserdisc scene. because Bond enters Slider's crime scene, and the lights suggest actually that there's a police car behind the building, or somewhere around the building, as you can see from the window.
Yep.
So that's funny. So finds out info from the laser disc. There's an up-to-date list apparently of deceased CIA people and contract pilots, and it even lists the next meeting. This is like a prototype Microsoft Outlook of some kind, running on a laser disc connected to internet, I guess.
So somebody has saved the script on the disk. Bond happens to find it.
Some CIA database of some sorts. Yeah. There's a hand that cuts the tape to enter Leiter's house, the police tape, and this is where Michael Wilson doubled for hands.
Stunt hands.
Then we get to my favorite scene of all time. Let's get to the bar, Henrik. Let's get rowdy. So, Barrelhead Bar. And I think kind of the key scene for Benicio del Toro in this film. La Señorita Bouvier. And Dirty Love is playing. Dirty Love. Yeah, says to Pam that she will be next because of the lighter leaks. Yeah, Sanchez took a bunch of files related to Sanchez and everything else.
Well, there is the stripper with world's highest work ethics. Who stays on the job even after the brutal fight starts.
I love it. It's amazing.
It's quite amazing. Like had I been on her pole, I would have just quit at that moment and left the premises and called it a night.
It's only like seconds before when the huge ass hole is created with the shotgun to the wall. Way too huge, by the way. Then she's like, ah!
Yeah, it takes a whole goddamn shotgun blast for her to stop her work.
Yeah. And apparently the stereos were hidden inside the wall because the music goes like... Yeah, this was in Bimini bar, in Bimini, westernmost district in the Bahamas. Benicio was hanging a lot of time with the Davi. Kind of bad guys were hanging with the bad guys. I like how this is going at the film set. Yep, they escape the bar. Carrie Lowell's character Bambouvier makes the line, "Out of gas. Haven't heard that in a long time." Always wondered, like, is that like a regular go-to tactic of picking women up?
Oh, look, I ran out of gas.
I guess we have to have sex now.
I will try that next time in a bar. Like, they must have hit the fuel line. Wanna join me?
But I can see by the gorge that you didn't run out of gas. No, just listen to me. I ran out of gas. And that's that.
Yeah, then there's the Pam's monologue about hellholes and being in the toughest hellholes in America and how she's very professional. That's a good point that she's making because Bond is being very annoying to her. No, not really.
Well, he's being Bond. He's being his typical Bond.
Sure. Then they are bartering. I have to wonder why would she be joining the crazy plan of Bond because, as she said, it's completely crazy. Of course, she wants to stay alive. That's her motivation because she is on the shit list of Sanchez, and Bond wants to take on his revenge.
He's also on the shit list of M, who makes the notion how he will inform the MI6 operatives in Isthmus so that they can stop Bond.
It's gotta be stopped.
And bring him back to England. And we never get back to that.
Yes, we do. Because there is this...
When we do... Oh, yeah. In the Chinese narcotics agent scene, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you're correct.
I'm also pretty sure that Q is going against protocol as well by helping Bond out in this.
Oh, he most definitely is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Q is also going rogue at the moment.
I took note of that. Like, the guy is risking his whole career and risking jail time, so he must have had extremely a lot of love for Bond after all those years.
Yeah, after all those years when he has lovingly spent like ages, like countless of hours to come up with different type of gadgets, which he is on his knees praying that Bond brings back from his missions intact, and Bond completely disregards them and completely wrecks everything you ever hands to him.
Yeah, the Moneypenny scene here is shockingly short. Must be the shortest Moneypenny scene ever. Or maybe Live and Let Die. No, this is way shorter. But she has a very big role in the film because she's the one that is trying to take care of James Bond on his rogue adventure and sends Q. Yeah, we get to Isthmus. Bond now has kind of kept some of the money from this little Milton Crest airplane ride. Orders the dude to deliver fresh flowers every day and has given Pam Bouvier a new name, Miss Kennedy, making some references right there. There was a deleted scene where you see James Bond's and Miss Kennedy's or Pam Bouvier's arrival to Isthmus. So they're on the airfield and very close to them at the same time actually some of the people of Sanchez are coming out of a plane. And when they are moving away from the airport, then Pam Bouvier basically tells the whole story of Isthmus and the relationship of Sanchez to that Isthmus city. Kind of pointless. The made-up country, in fact, the Republic of Isthmus. So they wanted to avoid all kinds of lawsuits and problems.
I think the Isthmus is the Karelian Isthmus is a place in Finland.
It's on the Russian side, though. Karjalan kannas. Yeah, true. So they go to Finland and... No, this is actually based on a banana republic called Panama, which was quite a drug organization at the time. Bond makes this questionable line like, ha 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 ha, we're south of the border, it's a man's world. And I'm sure he is right, but it's kind of this, you wouldn't see that anymore. Banco de Isthmus, next stop, Sanchez owns it. Bond delivers some money to the bank. I'm sure people downstairs are quite capable of... Please, take a seat. Now the Orientals arrive, as they are called throughout the film. Yeah, the word Orientals, which is not considered very nice anymore. So, people from Asia are coming. There's some Japanese people, there are some Chinese people, at least, because Heller uses the konbanwa. Somehow the bank lady looks very pissed when Miss Kennedy invites inside through the door, kind of on her turf or something. It seems like she was romantically interested in James Bond, and she leaves the scene as soon as Miss Kennedy arrives. And we get to Wayne Newton, this kind of one of the top entertainers in...
Las Vegas.
He's here to bless our hearts.
He's such a fucking creep, really.
We need you to go to your phones right now. Somewhere in between these shots scenes, there was a deleted scene where Bond is using the Felix lighter. Yeah, guys, it's a Felix fucking lighter. He uses it in his hotel room with this huge flame while watching television.
Yeah, you kind of have... That's once again the setup, reminder, and payoff. This being the reminder and payoff coming at the very end of the film.
Yeah. Lupe says that he hasn't seen anything in Crest's quarters and says the kind of masks he's kind of discussed for Sanchez and the fact that she's lying. She says that, I can't stand that thing. Referring to the iguana. Yeah, the iguana, guys. Like,
did that look fake to you?
The iguana? No.
Yeah.
It's a real iguana.
It kind of look fake to me.
Are you talking about the diamond necklace that the iguana has?
That is also real.
Is it really?
Yeah, everything real. Real diamonds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but surprisingly little of diamonds in the end. Like necklaces and gold watches and your typical kind of a flamboyant Bond accessories.
Yeah, Davi was kind of a jokester. He wanted to have some kind of a humorous elements in his characters, and then he got this iguana, and actually he gets an improvised acting moment from the iguana, who kisses Davi, and then he goes like, "Oh, you want one too?" You can't really coordinate iguanas.
It seems his villains are really into showing off their pets, like Stavro Blofeld, with his cat, and this lizard, whatever it is.
Yeah, Glenn, after filming this kissing with the iguana, Glenn was like, "You're such a great actor, iguana." And Davi was like, "And what about me?"
Well, iguana has been highly paid.
Yeah,
with not other diamond necklaces. So I would have expected also all the best from that iguana.
And he didn't even have a speaking role.
Yeah, yeah. Simply a silent, purely with expressions and body movement type of performance.
What would you guys feel if you were called into a James Bond movie and you were told that the film is going to take place in Finland?
a flaming disaster. There has been that one book by Garner, which also places James Bond in Finland, and I never managed to even finish it.
I don't think that's a bad idea at all.
Like what the fuck is Bond supposed to be doing in Finland?
Well,
Drinking beer and eating black sausage.
No, Helsinki is really is very high class in some areas.
He's not.
Lowell was a little bit disappointed about filming in Mexico, and not inside those other exotic places where Bond usually goes to, but she came to like the experience. She knew Mexico, and she spoke a little bit of Spanish, and got amazing dishes there. Anthony Stark. For some reason, everybody keeps saying in some podcasts or some reviews how they like, or some of the fans somehow like Anthony Stark here, the Truman Lodge character. I don't know what's so incredibly amazing about it, but I like the character, sure. It's a good character. Okay, so they used the television show of Wayne Newton, or the Professor Butcher, to negotiate the drug prices, and the newest price for everybody is $22,000. And that's the way to communicate out in the open in that sense. And Sanchez gets informed from Truman Lodge, from some other guy on the end of the phone, that Bond is playing there like a real jerk-off, has raised the limits. Kind of a British sucker who dropped $250,000 and wants to play no limit table too. And he's talking about how this rich guy flew into the country today with $5 million in cash at the casino. And of course then Sanchez sends Lupe to the scene to get the Bond off the table. Yeah, there is this the Chinese agent Mr. Kuang in the background with one lady. I kind of always thought it was weird that he is there, because I don't think he's needed. He's just there, and then he leaves with the girl when Lupe says that you're going to lose, but not much. Then he has this like quirky smile and they leave the scene. Kind of weird. Pam Bouvier takes the drink of James Bond because there's no one to drink it, and then Bond goes in the quarters of Senor Sanchez. And he totally levels with the dude, like tries to be very honest with the guy, but this time the honesty, or what appears to be honest from Dalton, is actually not very honest.
I think Sanchez is kind of gullible, I think.
Yeah, a bit, like the way that he listens to Bond. Well, it seems to be effective, this way of approaching him. Sanchez says that one has to show a special talent that people don't have. Bond responds, well, that shouldn't be too hard. And then there's like a small shot at each of the people in the room, and it looks like they're taking offense from that, which I thought it was kind of funny and weird. Because, yeah, so what? I don't think Bond was making comment about the intelligence of these people in the room, or he could have as well. Sometimes Dalton, he looks like a pissed off iguana, especially at the casino. Hair is all like glued to the back, and it's very shiny, and he looks very kind of scary, always this very pissed off face, very like, very angry. But Uncle has arrived, and Q is here. It's great that Dalton's Bond, apparently Q in each movie of the Bond film, he's wearing a different kind of tie to signify some allegiance to, or belonging to some kind of a club, something related to military, or some clubs or something like that. I didn't know that before, like different tie every time.
That's unbelievably minor detail on a character.
Is it?
Well, had you ever noticed that Q changes his tie in every movie?
No, haven't paid attention until now.
Yeah, so I would say unbelievably minor detail. Every single movie makes the knowing notion to change Q's tie. And here Karri is never actually paying attention to it because it's such a minor detail.
Yeah, it's kind of funny though that it's making the statement that Q is belonging to all of these different groups, that the tie is about, what was it, like let's say 20 different organizations.
And that's kind of the only notion that the films ever give to Q to actually having any free time. Like having any activities outside of his job.
Yeah. Bond is going upstairs to the roof. Funny how he actually leaves the food inside the elevator. But there is some guy who is going to get it anyway. And then goes behind the window of Sanchez. There's the John Glenn obligatory, is it a pigeon? So what this all is about. Now Sanchez he has an invisible empire from Chile to Alaska. And he wants to make the Chinese, Japanese part of it. They want Pacific to be their little puddle exclusive franchising rights for 100 million per territory, and guaranteed quality and price for 5 years. And again, we look at this, this trust thing. Mr. Kwang, you don't pay for hardware, you pay for my personal guarantee and protection. There's like 3 different moments where Bond is trying to get rid of Q and Pam. This is the first one. Like, you're a hell of a field operative. Now go. See you back in London. But then he will need him again anyway after this little Sanchez operation. Bond is preparing the gun. There's the president visit, the President Lopez, who is actually acted by Pedro Armendáriz Jr. And of course his father was playing in From Russia with Love. Watch the birdie, you bastard. So he blows up the window, tries to get a shot, but doesn't get it because there's a ninja attack out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, this may be the weirdest moment of the entire film. Bond's signature camera gun is A, that is stupid. And B, the Chinese attacking with full ninja force here is also stupid.
Secret agent ninjas.
I think Kung Fu was really big in the 80s, like really popular.
It was, and ninjas were kind of the only thing that Western world knew about Asia or China. Ninjas and tea.
So to make the point home that these are from Asia, you have to make them ninjas.
Yep.
Bond following the trends. So yeah, there's an interesting moment when he's doing the watch the birdie, you bastard. Before that, there is when Bond sees in the window Heller and Pam Bouvier negotiating something. And when he notices that and we switch back to Bond on the camera, his eye gets widened fully up behind the scope. And this is the exact same kind of moment that happens in The Living Daylights. So when Saunders says, it's the girl with the cello, and then there's a similar shot at Bond where his eye is wide open. Yeah, the person from the UK is trying to send Bond back to London, but then they start shooting the entire warehouse or the abandoned building. Sanchez takes control, and funny how they had time to change into full military gear and then pursue Kwang. Kwang, who takes cyanide.
Funny how Sanchez was actually able to, or the military, the Isthmus military who attacks here, has been able to follow a group of ninjas into some backwoods lodge where they now have taken cover.
Yeah. Sanchez finds James Bond unconscious, and yeah, Bond wakes up, and Bond wakes up in Sanchez's mansion with the fish surprise, because there's this creepy statue of a fish.
And oh boy, is the statue creepy ever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
It's kind of like half human face, half fish or something like that.
Yeah, it's like if a statue would mate with a fish demon, that would be kind of the offspring.
This movie plays sometimes like a horror movie. So, this was in Arabesque, Acapulco, Via Arabesque in Acapulco, owned by some Baron and Baroness di Protonovo, some very famous people apparently, buddies of Broccolis. And this is a pretty crazy location, one of the most stunning locations, I think, in Bond film history.
And a complete nightmare to the camera.
Yeah, it was apparently so white there, as you can see, that it was a problem for the DP to, I think, light everything correctly.
Yup, the white surface is kind of a shining back all the light to the camera and making the exact shapes obscure and kind of hard to capture.
I have also noticed regarding DPing in this film, and I think in many Bond films, that it's the same thing, that the DP is, well, it's the same thing as in The Living Daylights and many other films, that there is no diffusion apparently used in any way, like softening the lighting. You know, when you see the faces, especially on the Blu-ray, you can see that it's very sharp. You can see all the scratches and little details on the face.
A lot of hard light.
Hard light, yes. And it's like what they're trying to do there, it's trying to add to the realism of James Bond films here. I guess it works. There is no any of the title song incorporated into the soundtrack, actually. The departure from John Barry.
And the soundtrack, since you mentioned, also uses the Bond theme itself quite sparingly.
I would say so, and when it uses it, I think it works really well. I really enjoy these renditions.
Those moments are kind of highlighted by the theme, like more than usual, because it only plays in like 1 or 2 sequences in the film.
Like the water skiing, I think that's one of the greatest sequences.
Yeah,
because
and
of the music.
Later on in the final fight when Bond starts to do the car stunts.
Yeah.
And both of them are meant to be these big highlight stunts of the film.
I would say they very much are. So Davi and Dalton, they both like to do, let's say, as much research as the Flick Lab. So they went to original works. And in the book Casino Royale, it talks about how Bond and Le Chiffre are kind of mirror images of each other. And I think that very well plays out in this film. And our villain is wearing pink. First time for a Bond film.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think he could. For Robert Davi, it works. He can wear it. It looks good on him still.
It wouldn't look too good on Dr. No.
I think not.
But then again, having hands would not look good on Dr. No.
Yeah, true.
But Lupe thinks that you're completely loco. You shouldn't leave because it's dangerous. But Lupe helps Bond to escape from Sanchez's hospitality and drops the bag and fools the guard.
Which is kind of one of the most dim-witted guards ever.
Certainly.
Lady is heading the direction which is outside with her bag. The guard makes a notion of the bag since he picks it up after Lupe has dropped it. And then, like 30 seconds later, the guard finally counts 1 and 1 together and realizes that Lupe is heading outside.
Also interesting that when Bond is kind of away for several hours and he still, I don't think he enjoys complete trust of Sanchez. Or in any case, nobody's taking care of this guy or looking after him or guarding him or...
Yeah, nobody's checking on Bond. Even to see if Bond would need something. Like, even to ask, like, do you need fresh mint?
Yeah, weird. Maybe he had already plugged this time as well the door with the chair. And that was completely impossible to pass. Okay, but when we see Bond on the side of the boat, this pirata boat that lady is controlling, this was a little bit longer originally. I think there was some kind of a dialogue as well. It's been a long time since I've looked into it. Okay, then we get James Bond back to say hello to Pam Bouvier, but Bond is really pissed off, which is a surprise for her. Tim had some trouble taking Lowell's gun out of some kind of holster, so they had to take a couple of takes with that. And now, just like in The Living Daylights, where you have the scene when Jeroen Krabbe's character is giving the diamonds to the snow leopards in exchange for drugs. In that moment, there is very, very packed and a lot of plot-related information in a short amount of time when James Bond is going through this monologue of his, that how he has already figured out every fucking aspect of this plot. And now Pam Bouvier is bombarding us with information right here. I think we have to break it down a little bit because it's rapid fire as fuck. So Bond thinks now that Pam is working with Sanchez people since Bond saw her visit Heller. And quote, Sanchez has arranged to buy 4-Stinger missile from the Contras. Do you guys know what is the Contras?
Yeah?
Yeah. These are the various US-backed funded rebel groups between 1979 to 1990s that were opposing the National Reconstruction government in Nicaragua.
And pure fiction. Yeah, as any US official can immediately vouch for.
Yeah, well.
Because even though everybody in the goddamn world knows about Contras, as far as I've understood, even up to date, the US government has not actually officially acknowledged them. It still denies the knowledge of Contras.
But then again, the Congress had already disapproved the arms deals between those, and then the president kept on doing this trade with the Contras in secret. So it wasn't really, in that sense, the US state doing it.
Well, president still very much is the state.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan. And she continues, and he's threatened to shoot down the American airliner if the DAA doesn't lay off. So, yeah. And Bond asks, what's that got to do with you and Heller? And she continues, Felix gave me a letter at his wedding from Attorney General granting Heller immunity if he gets the Stingers back. So, the Americans are trying to get, with the help of Pam Bouvier, the stingers back, because Heller has agreed to return them so he can get immunity. And did he go for the deal? Yes. And then you missed Sanchez, and Heller panicked, and he said the deal was off, and that I was dead if he ever saw me again. So the attempt to return the stingers is now not working out, and Bond has now the extra responsibility because of his fuck-up to get the stingers away from the drug lord.
Which once again is really interesting moment in Bond history and Bond films altogether, because usually when Bond goes off the script and does whatever he wants, there really are not that big consequences for his actions.
True.
And this is one of those rare occasions where Bond, through his antics, actually makes the situation hell of a lot worse. And where it's very clearly highlighted to Bond that in the universe where Bond operates, there also are CIA and all the other parties who also may have interest in the situation, in for example, in the shared bad guy.
But Tom, does it work for you as a character idea that Bond is completely fucking out of his element and he's barging into situations kind of like a weaker agent would do, who is relying on his emotions here very much, and agent who is completely out of control, doesn't have the situation under control on any level, in fact?
I think it does work. I think it's part of the whole James Bond package. He's always been impulsive, he's always chased his emotions, and he's never stuck to plan at all. He's never stuck to the mission. I think it does work.
Yeah, I think it mostly does work. Yeah, I think it, yeah. There's a lot of levels to this, yeah.
He always lets his emotions get in the way of the mission.
Really?
Yeah, he's always done that, I think.
Yeah, he did that fucking last episode, which we did. Living Daylights, where he goes once again, for the umpteenth time, goes against direct instructions and does not shoot the lady.
Yeah, that, but here he is completely controlled by his emotions, not like only the sexual urges, but he is fucking pissed off, and that controls all his movements.
Yeah.
Which you don't see with Roger Moore, for example.
No, but you do still see Bond doing the exact same kind of a shtick. Bond doing whatever he wants, Bond going against instructions, Bond going against orders, and Bond making kind of hasty decisions based on how he feels in any given situation.
Yeah, but like you said, this is it's a very interesting and so different film because he's laid off the service momentarily, but of course then solves everything at the end of the film, and it's like, okay, come back to service. Good job.
Yeah, you stopped that bad guy, everything is forgiven once again.
Yeah. Bond makes a withdrawal, and the bank service guy is definitely not too happy about that. And we get to one of my favorite moments, the crazy harbor pilot. Pam Bouvier takes control of the ship, and there is this absolutely amazingly hilarious captain, at least to me. Those facial expressions are super gold. And then completely destroys the harbor. So yeah, this was an existing dock, but they did an extension to that, so they could crash this part. What a surprise. But then, Bond makes the remark that I'd stick to flying if I were you, and gives this kind of a perverted look at her, like, nice body parts you got there. Cut back to Milton Crest. The actor has really special looks, like those eyes. Those eyes, man. The other eye super wide, the other eye a little bit closed. Oh, we had this crazy harbor pilot. Sanchez doesn't buy the story of Crest, and Perez comes to inform that they have found the stash where he is supposedly keeping the money away, hidden. And off we get to the pressure chamber.
Yeah, this was hard to watch.
Yeah, this is a prosthetic head, of course, and was created by John Richardson's team based on a mold of Anthony Serbay's face. And it was quite a gruesome result, and was shortened to avoid censorship problems. I'm not sure if there's even a longer version than of this scene than what we already have. I don't think so. So Davi considered that this compression chamber scene is, or depressurization tank, made to pressurize because it's broken with the axe. He thought that this scene was way more frightening than the shark scene. And he thought that, well, you have already your jaws and everything, so there's nothing special about the shark scene, but this scene, you know.
I don't know. I thought it was the blast.
Yeah, the blast. This is scarier than the shark scene.
Yeah, but I thought it was a blast. The scene itself. It was good times. I was laughing my ass off as the pressure chamber scene happened.
Yeah, this was cut in the Finnish version. I remember that. The actual explosion. And now, this is now the third time when Bond says that now go away. I don't need you guys anymore. Sends Q and Pam Bouvier off their way, and they're going to meet in Miami. So Bond's information helped Sanchez. And this is a very brotherly scene. They kind of show that the Sanchez shows his kind of affection for Bond. It's kind of really affectionate. Like he has with the Dario. I think Dario and Sanchez are very brotherly, or even something more you could suggest, you could guess, you could take from some of the scenes.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's just this Latino, very warm-hearted way of, they are touching everywhere anyway, each other. Lupe wants to have some sexy time with Bond. She thinks that it's gonna work out very, very well, and it doesn't. Especially in the next goddamn scene. I love James so much. Q is in position to report where Bond is being taken, and Senorita tries to get a plane for herself, but doesn't quite work out, at least not immediately. And there's a scene about the Stinger missile, the missiles that they're packing into the helicopter, and they go to the meditation center. This was some really weird place in Mexico, in a never-heard place called Toluca. And it was some kind of a meditation center for the local Indians, at least how it was called by everybody related to this film.
Yeah, it was built as some kind of a gift. Some kind of a celebration ground to the local Indian population by the then exiting president, if I remember correctly, and nobody ever got to tell the Indians about the site.
Something like that. Or it was so remote as well. It was built by some president for the local Indians, but not many visitors there apparently.
No, it had been completely abandoned.
Yeah.
Because the Indians didn't get the news and didn't know to visit the site and take it to a proper use.
Yeah, this was a location 2 kilometers in air, or 7,000 feet, and this gave Cubby Broccoli some breathing problems. He fell very ill because of the thin and polluted air, and he had to go back, and he recovered completely in 2-3 days, but he couldn't return and trusted his crew to take care of everything. Yeah, now the Asians are coming into the main distribution center. Pam Bouvier tries to get into the whole complex. So we meet Professor Butcher and asks from Pam Bouvier whether she would like to study here. And we got back to the laboratory.
Yeah, the televangelist was kind of inserted into the film as a comedic side character to bring some levity to kind of what happens in the final act of the film.
And it's kind of weird because
it is a bit weird. I'm kind of of two minds about the character.
Or the fact that the humor is not coming from anywhere from Bond directions. In this film, it's all coming from around Bond. It's a change.
Yeah, but most definitely a change. It's kind of like the whole world around Bond is having much more fun than Bond himself.
Yeah. Well, now Dario notices who is one of the guys with the Asians group, and it's James Bond.
Recognizes Bond from seeing him in the bar previously.
Yeah, extremely conveniently, Dario was not there when Bond was visiting Sanchez at the office at the casino.
Yeah, what was the excuse that Dario was at the time? Was he retrieving the stingers, or was he bringing the Sanchez's deal or the proposition?
It's not explained in any way, but you could take it like that because he returns to the film in the helicopter where they have the stingers, right? So
yeah. And if I remember correctly, does Sanchez make the notion that did you bring the missiles or something like that?
It sounds like it's Sanchez who says that I brought the stingers mojito or whatever he's saying.
Okay.
But it's definitely not Dario speaking.
Okay, I mistook it to be Dario.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing. All right.
Yeah, the fight at the factory.
Pam Bouvier gets the keys from the guy. The creepster Wayne Newton. The fight at the lab.
Yeah, Bond throws chemicals at fire and everything caught fire from there, and it's on now.
It was kind of a far-fetched fire, if you ask me.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it could do that much damage.
It seems that there are people trying to use the fire extinguishers in the background, but I don't think it's not working very well.
It's not working because the fire keeps spreading throughout the facility, which once again pushes everybody to evacuate the premises and take the dope and the missiles out of there.
Yeah, Benicio being very menacing, and for some reason he has a obsession to put his hand on the mouth of Timothy Dalton. Well, who wouldn't want, though? Anyway, Sanchez asks, who do you work for? It's a valid question, because he's definitely not working for Majesty's government at this moment.
Yeah, Bond doesn't know that himself either at the moment.
I'm working for the CIA.
You can kind of see the gears turning inside Bond's head also when he's thinking like, yeah, who am I working on exactly?
He's pretty much working for Felix and Della right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, or as a gadget beta tester for Q.
Now, of course, Truman Lodge is trying to think about the budget here. He is the money expert and tries to explain that this facility cost a fortune, several millions of dollars, but Sanchez is like, I don't give a shit about this setup. There's 4 million or whatever in this tanker, and now go help Heller.
Truman Lodge is kind of like MGM. He's the physical manifestation of the production company here.
Yeah, I think it's time to cut some overhead. Oh my god, good reference. Bond says that that's the last you're seeing of your stinking Stinger missiles. So the conveyor belt is dropping these brick cocaines into this giant shredder.
No.
Dalton cut his... Huh?
No, carry on.
And Dalton cut his finger really bad while Benicio was cutting the straps. He still has the scar from that. And Benicio felt terrible about the situation. Cut to Heller's last moments alive. He's like, yo man, just wanted to check out the stingies are safe, man. But Sanchez doesn't buy that explanation. I remember once when this film was coming from MTV3, was it, in Finland, and before the movie starts, you know, on MTV3, at least you used to have this where, you know, the host of the channel announces what is coming up next. And they had made like green screen arrangement. They had a still shot of, you know, the facility, this drug facility. The door was there where all the cars go out, I believe. And then the MTV3 host comes in for front of the green screen in front of that door. And he's like, next up, 007, 007. Seuraavaksi alkaa 007. Then somebody fires some shots at his direction and he's avoiding those shots. Like, pshoo, pshoo. And then he says the film name, 007 License to Kill. And something happens in this film. And he ends it, mut net täytyy mennä, oottakaa! And then there's a helicopter sound. So, I now gotta go. Wait for me. It was kind of fun.
Sounds quite cringy, to be completely honest.
Heller has reached the dead end, and that's the worst joke of the film by far.
It's also one of the few jokes that Bond makes.
Yeah, and doesn't really work.
Yeah, the few jokes that 007 makes here, they are all terrible goofs.
Truman Lodge is seen somewhere going like crazy. I don't know what the hell he's doing even outside. He's running around. Is he trying to escape Sanchez or what the fuck is going on? But anyway, Sanchez stops the car at his position and then he says like, you come with me. And he does with this kind of a confused smile. Cut to Professor Butcher who loses his bag, or actually it was her bag full of money, and says, bless your heart. This is the kind of moment that a father enjoys. Apparently if you go by the scientific data that I have collected from my own father regarding this. Bless your heart is very funny. Time to laugh. Ha 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 ha.
Well, it is, in your dad's defense, it is quite funny moment.
It is. Yeah, we get to Rumorosa. This is like a 3-mile long strip of road that the film production crew was able to use just for themselves, because this was apparently too dangerous part of the road that was shut off. They had made a bypass to the road. And then John Glenn smiled and said, and we were able to use this dangerous bit.
Yeah, there had been recorded God knows how many accidents on this bit of the road.
It's a kind of a fascinating location now because of these several stories that they have told from the crew. Like, so many things went wrong in Rumarosa, and many could not be explained. I don't know if these are very unbelievable situations for some of them, but there were two tankers that were supposed to smash into each other side by side, like kind of lock into each other, right? And that happened to get somehow overdone, so the driver was pushing too much to the left, and it sent the other truck crashing against the solid rock wall, which you see in the film actually. And if you look closely, the other truck next to him is stopping, so it went completely ballistic right there, for reals. But it looks so good, so they wrote the accident into the film. Then there was one stunt who fell off once from the top of a tanker in a steep curve, but he landed safely on a sand dune. And French driver, this Remy Julien, who has been in a bunch of Bond films, he saved his life when he lost the control of one truck, and when he lost it, he apparently got to the sleeping compartment of the truck and saved his life. He was not in the way of harm there. And John Richardson, from the special effects, he had prepared the rocket that is used in the film, and John Glenn had seen it demonstrated on Pinewood Studios. And then there was a guy fixing a pole, a telephone line, and he was severely hurt by the rocket. The problem only was that this guy was like 2.5 miles away from where they were shooting. So it's kind of amazing. I don't know what's the range of these things that they were shooting, but tough luck.
Yeah, the crew also reported seeing ghosts and ghostly apparitions at the site. People wandering on around the location and then vanishing into thin air when they have been approached.
Yeah, and also trucks would mysteriously burst into flames in the middle of the night.
Yeah, something an apparition that also vanishes temporarily in the film is the any sense of realism and logic when once Bond starts to do the wheelies with the truck.
Unfortunately, that's a stupid moment.
Oh, really? That was
Really,
that was the best one.
But both of them are stupid as hell. Bond does 2 wheelie stunts on the final stretch, and I hate them both.
Really?
Yep.
No, I like the one where he avoids the Stinger missile, but I really don't like when he's going through the fire, because that's just not how trucks work.
No, I liked it.
Yeah. But I mean, I hated them. I hated them both from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, come on. I mean, it's the one with the 2 wheels is great because it was actually done for real. There was one version where they had like the support mechanism for the other side of the truck, so they could film it like from the other side in that position. But the guy did it for real, so.
It was done for real, yeah. They used a French stunt driver who was able to pull it off.
Yeah.
Granted, yeah, I'm not saying that you can't do it, since obviously they did it. I'm just saying that it doesn't fit the movie, in my opinion.
But we don't see
like that. That's once again that's Bond pulling off the magical card tricks out of his ass. Like, at what point of 007 training did MI6 need it fit to teach Bond to do wheelies with a truck? Like, I know the guys come prepared for everything, but that's very specific ability to pull off.
Well, that's what he does through the entire franchise. Like, at one moment he is, quote-unquote, some kind of a master of the Oriental languages because he took a course, and then in the next film he has forgotten all his language skills in Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah, and he knows how to defuse a nuclear missile, and God knows what else.
Actually,
but
wasn't that?
He does that at least in what was the oil line film.
The World Is Not Enough, but he needs the physics expert, the lady, to do all that stuff.
He can fly a spaceship.
yeah. Also part of the 00 training.
But again, he needs someone like Holly Goodhead to back him up.
To sit next to him while he pilots.
True, but also we have to remember that James Bond is the star of the film, so it's not always about the sexism or just ignoring the other characters.
No. But there is. I do actually enjoy a lot of License to Kill because it's so grounded in reality. Like to me, one of the hardest parts to take in James Bond as a character is the superhuman abilities that the character attains in every given situation.
Then again, I guess you would also agree that this License to Kill plotline is not like extremely original. This kind of a revenge plot, and
Yeah.
it's a very 80s film, so
It
it's
is.
not really yeah. But then again, it's not news in any way. Like it's not like James Bonds have reinvented the wheel in at any point. They are just kind of recycling the things of those days, kind of staying current.
They're kind of recycling their own plots in many ways.
Yeah.
There's a villain who has unexplained military behind him for reasons, and he has a super weapon and decides to do things quite often, tries to actually hold the entire world as a hostage, using laser, using the moon base, using missiles, using satellite, using your superhuman underwater base.
Really?
Really? Oh, where were we? Yeah, there were other accidents also in Rumerosa. Just a truck would suddenly start moving and nobody was in the controls. They also tried to investigate whether there was something funky going on years before, and apparently there had been a minibus with about 5 nuns, and the bus had gone sideways and burst into flames in that particular area where they were filming. And in that particular area, exactly, there were 4 or 5 more incidents according to one working on the film, on that same spot where the nuns had died. Also, I don't know, this might be more of a human error, I hope, but this is pretty weird. When Timothy was supposed to rush into the truck and drive off when the bad guys are shooting at him, they had completely made sure that the area was secure, no problem at all. And then somehow now another truck had got in the way, and Tim was barely, I guess, able to avoid the crash. But yeah, truck driver gets some saving gel on his face. Okay, it's the fire extinguisher. Baddies throw him away from the windshield. The truck is crushed. Stinger is missed. This guy running away from the explosion looks like a Super Mario character. Crop dusting. And now Bond drops the tanker to the other tanker. And that's another $80 million write-off. And it's time to start cutting some overhead. It's a good line, one of those funny lines again, in a very serious situation though. Bond changes the truck, gets into Sanchez's truck. The car flies in flames. And the Stinger is now used to the plane, but Sanchez misses partly. But she has to crash land. That's not a problem in any way because a fully working truck somehow is dropping from some direction for her. Now we get to the final Sanchez fight. And the tanker falls off because the driver has already left.
Yeah, Sanchez cuts the brake line, or the fuel line for the brakes, kind of prompting the driver to escape the vehicle since he can no longer slow it down.
You could have had everything. Don't you want to know why? And shows the lighter.
Shows the flamethrower to Sanchez.
Yeah, Felix flamethrower. And the tanker goes boom. There were a lot of gasoline involved. 910 liters or 200 gallons.
And apparently on this final explosion there is some kind of there's a photograph taken from the explosion where you can see kind of this fiery arm stretching out from the explosion itself. And when the camera crew was checking the actual film footage, they could no longer see that arm in anywhere.
Yeah, granted it can be very hard to spot, but it seemed to be... I mean, if this was supposed to be the Sanchez explosion, if you look at that photo, I think the landscape just doesn't even kind of match the area. Or then the fire should be way more below in the picture, in my view. It's kind of weird. But
could very well be.
Yeah, but yeah, it looked like a hand reaching from the skies, from the ball of fire.
Yeah, landing in once again to the bunch of ghost stories that the production crew reported from filming on the location.
Yeah, I think the YouTube channel Bedtime Stories could do something about this one. But yeah, Wooster went through all these different angles that they have filmed the explosion from. There were 4 freaking cameras, and in none of them he could see the same thing. He went through it frame by frame, nothing. It's kind of creepy, though.
It sounds kind of made up, to be completely honest.
I don't know. Why would you make it up?
To make the entire shoot sound more epic than it was. I'm not buying these ghost stories for a minute.
I buy that there was a lot of accidents when they were filming, and I buy that some people were making jokes about some kind of a spirit being in controls, or that this place is cursed, and then it got a little bit out of control for some. Maybe they really were thinking that.
I don't know. At the same time, them all buying into the idea that the place is cursed and the shoot is cursed, at the same time it also could have lent them the possibility of not paying so much attention to the safety regulations. Because anytime anything goes wrong, well, it's not a human error, it's nobody's fault, it's just the place is cursed and we can't help it.
Yeah, true. I mean, they weren't exactly nice guys either when they were filming there. Yeah, because the delivery of the lunch to the mountain road was a little bit late. So some of the crew went and knocked the food delivery car over the hill.
Yeah.
And, Anthony Stark reckoned that this will be quite hard to explain to the Mexican government. Yeah, what the hell? Kind of a dickish thing to do. Then there's also this scope moment. In The Living Daylights, when James Bond destroys the truck that is blocking the road when the Russians when they leave the Bratislava, the militia is trying to stop Bond. Well, Bond blows up the truck with the few optional extras installed. There is this one, scope on the screen with the red color, and it again repeats in this film, now in green color. And the texts and the font have been changed, but otherwise it's the same. When Perez is trying to shoot Bond with the freaking Stinger missile. Karri Ojala now comes with the truck, and Bond is like, yes, sir. And Felix Leiter is having a phone call with James Bond, and everything's fine. Hey, yeah, I'm already in good shape. I just lost my leg, but having a good time here with the nurses.
Yeah, I won't walk ever again. And my wife is dead, but the film is closing up, so I'm feeling positively happy.
Did he really say he's having a good time with the nurses?
No.
No, he didn't say that.
I'm like, yeah, your wife died a week ago, man. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, those nurses' uniforms.
yeah, true.
Well, it's a David Hedison effect. He's so easygoing that he's portraying that part in Felix Leiter. Yeah, Lupe and Bond share a kiss, but it looks like, even though Lupe seems to have genuine emotions towards Bond, as we see in the I love James so much, and is kind of a virginish type of a character in here, even then it seems at the end of the film that this girl is really just kind of a gold digger, isn't she? Or very desperate to have somebody, or both.
Yeah, I don't know how much gold digging there is to be done with Bond.
James Bond. But there's a lot of gold digging to do with the president.
Yeah, that was a weird comment from Bond, because there is actually no notion to be made, or is not even made in this scene, that there would be anything between President and Lupe.
Yeah.
The two ain't even looking at each other when Bond makes the remark.
True. In that sense, it's bizarre.
It's kind of a ham-fisted writing moment where Bond's refusal of women is kind of framed as a no harm done situation, because, well, the lady will get now this president guy, and Bond can freely go after another woman.
Who is crying at this moment?
Who is crying at the moment?
That was unnecessary.
A bit, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been more in character, I think, if she would have just left a little bit disappointed or angry and gone to the pool.
It would have been more Pam Bouvier, the type of approach. Altogether, Pam Bouvier being so in love and so fascinated by Bond, I think goes bit against the character.
Much more. Michael Wilson was supposed to do like an actual face cameo at the end of the film as well. I think he was supposed to be upstairs, looking at the pool like the rest of them, but it was cut. I think enough Michael Wilson in this film. And then there is the winking fish. Your thoughts?
Stupid.
Yeah, that's a nice touch. I've honestly not got anything bad to say about this film. I liked it so much.
No, it was actually my grandma's 80th birthday party yesterday. And it was the first time I saw my brother in like 4 months. And I told him about this podcast, and he found it hilarious that I do this. Oh, yeah, so he's now listening to this. So.
Oh, great. We have one listener.
So we have to be extra careful with what we are going to edit out.
He said, "What makes you such a James Bond expert, Tom?"
Yeah, what is it?
I don't know.
I think me and Tom have like a shared history of watching James Bond films from very early age, so...
That is true. I have been watching James Bond since like age 7, I think.
Yeah, it's like, if you are a healthy person with reasonable wants and needs, then you will watch James Bond films every 10 years, and that's it.
I watch Pierce Brosnan and Daniel Craig films quite often.
Oh.
Because they don't tend to show the older Bond films on television that much. Just Daniel Craig and Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because in Finland, old Bond films is all they are going to show you.
Really?
I think it's the whole franchise. Like, they have run through all these films in different kinds of ways, like mixed order and then normal order from, like, in a yearly chronological order. It has been done so many times to death that I understand why many Finns who actually watch television are kind of exhausted about these movies.
Yeah, because they have like at least one rerun of the franchise every year, if not even 2 or 3 reruns in a year.
Something like that. They were just recently rerun, at least some of them.
Have you seen the film Hot Fuzz?
Yep.
What did you make of Timothy Dalton?
I wished he had been there more.
Yeah, me too.
He was great. I hope that he would have gotten more scenes.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about the Patti LaBelle song at the end credits?
That was also really good.
Yeah, fitting for an ending song. I mean, I don't never listen to R&B really, but I think this is categorized as such, and I've tried to listen to other Patti LaBelle stuff, but I just can't get into it at all. But of course, I have also a special relationship with this song because it's here. Just to run quickly through the premiere and business, you know, Princess Diana and Prince Charles went to see the royal premiere, and there was a little bit of a scandal in the papers when Davi was scanning Princess Diana in pictures or in camera, and the tabloids are going on about it like, what is this? Why is this baddie looking with such of an eye at Diana? It was just that, according to his own explanation, he was married, of course. According to his own explanation, he was just really kind of shocked, scared in this situation, and didn't know what else to do then. Well, there's this famous person, Princess Diana, and she was kind of scanning her all the way through, and apparently there was nothing suspicious going on there. And the film was cut heavily, as we know, and in the US it returned only $34.6 million, so the budget was 32, so that was a really, really low performance in the US, but worldwide it was like high level success, really, 156 million worldwide, so in that sense there is no problem. Was receiving generally positive reception, but also criticism made about the very dark tone. And as mentioned, it was a tough year for American audiences, for sure. There was Indy 3, Ghostbusters, Batman, Lethal Weapon 2, all coming during the summer. And the film was not even in the top 20 grossers of the year, which is kind of shocking. Even Roger Ebert liked this film, 3.5 out of 4. All right. Would it be Henrik leading us into the quick E's, which are anything but?
Okay, so with the film out of the way, with the end credits rolling, with the final mentioning that jury was provided by Sheila Goldfinger for this film, which is kind of funny, and also explains why there's not that much jewelry to be seen, because Goldfinger stole it all. But with that out of the way, I think it's the longies, the long categories of this podcast. I guess we once again start in order. What was your guys' favorite performances?
Dalton all the way through. It could also be Robert Davi, actually, when I think about it.
Yeah.
Both strong performances.
Yeah.
Probably the strongest performance of a baddie and a Bond in any film in the franchise.
I'll go with Dalton.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give this one to Davi myself.
Good call too.
But basically, the whole cast makes really strong performances here. And for me, this kind of game, in the end, it came a three-way between Del Toro, Dalton, and Davi.
Mm.
I liked all of them, and I really felt that there was this shared threat between the three. They were all terrifying, and you could feel from each one of them that these people can do whatever they want. Like they are kind of uncontrollable in that sense.
Also, Talisa Soto's performance gets a lot of complaints online, but I never had a problem with Lupe. I think she's doing a pretty good job.
I think so too. Yeah. Something, of course, which may explain some of the complaints may be that as a character-wise, in the film, she is contrasted against Pam Bouvier, the other female lead of the film. And from the two of them, Pam is the more active, and Lupe is the more kind of airheaded, more doesn't really do that much action-wise in the film as Pam does. Lupe is more just there and just kind of trying to talk to the guys, and that might be a reason why so many people appear to be against Talisa Soto's performance.
There's a lot of layers to the character. Like, on one end, she's kind of like the slave of Sanchez, kind of being this hot property around him that he wants to keep at all costs. Is in love with her in some sense, and also she wants to get out of this Sanchez's circles.
Yeah, and still doesn't exactly wanna leave where she is. Like, doesn't wanna go back to the poverty and back to home.
Right, that's an important point.
The next one would be favorite scene.
I really love the wheelie.
Oh God, no! You think that one again, sir?
No.
For me, I would go when the things go completely haywire at the laboratory. When Bond makes the whole place burst into flames and action kicks in.
Yeah, I myself, I'm kind of tired between the Sanchez assassination attempt, when Bond tries to shoot the bastard, and with the truck factory scene where Bond is lying on the conveyor belt, and things are really kind of intimidating at the moment.
You're gonna kiss my ass to kill you.
Yeah, but both great scenes, and I really liked how in the conveyor belt Bond didn't have his gadgets, and there was a lot of great camera work with the actors, like when Del Toro is kind of hunching over Bond and standing on the railings of the conveyor belt, and slowly cutting the rubber ties of Bond to make him fall. All of that, really great stuff.
Absolutely. And when it comes to gadgets, they are here, but they are also something that is moderately believable.
Yeah.
Well, in this film, he's just using the gun.
Yeah. There are gadgets. Q does introduce them, but they ain't actually being used that much.
Nothing is done with the camera.
Yeah. And Bond doesn't have any kind of a laser watch this time, which I did feel that helped the movie a lot. Because the situations were more terrifying now that you knew that Bond actually had to figure his way out of the situation by his own and not relying any miraculous gadget to save his ass.
Alright.
But you guys can get your puns out and in the open because it's the favorite quote.
Oh.
Yep.
Right now I can't think of anything that specifically rises up from the rest, like in ways of its message or something like that, being something very smart or quirky. But
yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
Really?
Yeah, honeymoon.
Close, but no Cuban cigar. Now this is still going to Dario when he's at the bar. Performance is so good here. Like, La Señorita Bouvier, don't I know you from somewhere? No. Oh yes, I do. You used to fly charter planes for some friends of mine. I got a job for you. and nobody's asking you, gringo. So, really strong performance. Hello, did I kill everybody?
Yep, you did.
Oh.
On my end, and this one goes to Davi. That there's a really great moment, and this is my favorite because there is such of an insidious undertone here when this is being said. Like you get the implications hidden in the line, and they are all nasty and all terrifying. When Leiter tells Sanchez that he will see Sanchez in hell, Sanchez remarks, No, today is the first day of the rest of your life.
No.
And by God, you know what that means for poor Felix.
Mm-hmm. Good scene. Tom, don't worry. We gave her a nice honeymoon.
No, that's way too obvious. Farewell to Arms carried a lot of swag.
It does.
He drops that line and then he clips the guy round the face and runs off.
True.
And dodges bullets. It's kind of badass.
Got a Daniel Craig moment right there.
Yeah. I'll go with that one.
Yeah?
Okay, so with the category where there is just only one obviously right answer, but you can give the wrong answers here if you want. What was your favorite kills?
Ooh, okay.
Okay, I know what you're thinking, but let me
Uh-huh. The only right answer to give to this question in today's episode is Crest in that goddamn pressure chamber having his head explode all over the premises and all over the money. God damn it.
Being burned alive is quite nasty as well, though.
It's good. It's just not as good.
see. Well, you have thrown a lot of kills to the table, but I think I will go with the Dario's death on the conveyor belt.
He sure as hell did scream a lot when that happened.
And still screamed when there was only a head left of the guy.
You can believe that must have hurt Dario.
Mhm.
As for me, I'm going to go with the Hong Kong Secret Service cyanide death.
Oh, wow.
Because I know this has found in reality, because I'm actually reading a book on the Secret Service right now, and spies did indeed carry around a capsule of cyanide. So if they were caught, they would drink the cyanide so they wouldn't give up their secret. So
Sure.
That is true. It also in many cases saved them from being tortured horribly later on. But from the bloody deaths, we can cut back to Karri, who is going to ask us the random confusing question.
Oh, really? So what would you cook on the conveyor belt?
what?
Would you have drugs rolling on it, or?
I would have a shark, a living shark, which is full of drugs. It would be just, shark after shark, or each one filled with drugs, going down the conveyor belt. And if DAA ever would show up, I could just happily look at them and be like, yeah, you can stick your hand in the mouth of the shark and test if there is any cocaine in there. Be my guest.
Good one. Tom?
I'm thinking like a conveyor belt full of Daniel Craigs.
Each one filled with drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or George Lazenby would be better. A conveyor belt.
The bad thing that with the person being Lazenby is that Lazenby shouldn't be alive at that point.
I still haven't gotten over your love for that film, Karri. I'm still very angry about this.
I can tell. But that's not a bad idea if you had copies of George Lazenby stuff with drugs and you could be some kind of a funeral service.
The pain is still very real.
That's okay. Well, if we are objective here at the laboratory, as we always are, George Lazenby is still, I would say, the worst Bond actor of the bunch.
For sure.
Dalton is his own Bond, doing completely his own thing, not copying anything, just being his thing. Daniel Craig the same. Brosnan, George Lazenby kind of suffers from the same problem. They're trying to be something else.
And don't forget, he was an asshole in real life as well, was George Lazenby.
True that.
Fame can get into your head.
Well, with the Lazenby, it was an attitude problem even before the fame.
Yeah. Next one.
So the first image that comes to mind. What are you thinking right now?
Sanchez's iguana.
God damn!
Did I steal yours?
No, that came completely left field because I am actually thinking about later giving his legs to that shark.
Oh.
I was thinking about the tanker falling off the road with Sanchez and Bond.
Okay, so what are you guys thinking? Did something pull you out of the film or?
At the moment of the ninjas, I felt that I have sometimes dropped off from the film at that moment. Not because of the ninjas, but I don't know. I can't explain it.
I genuinely love this film a lot. I think the only objection to it would be it's very, very low on humor. It's not very funny.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the ninja was like really, just quite frankly, weird.
Hi, up, chip, 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 chip.
Yeah, and then the one ninja pulls out an entire net from his sleeve.
And nowadays, ninjas kind of look like just kind of clownish and not very tough.
Yeah, ninjas have been way overused in films.
Albert Broccoli is a big fan of ninjas, it seems.
I guess mostly because ninjas are always cheap.
He's a fan of science facts.
In Moonraker, ninja.
True.
You only live twice, lots of ninjas.
Yeah, there are quite a lot of ninjas in Bond franchise, now that you actually mentioned it.
The man with the golden gun.
Yeah?
I don't know if they're ninjas, but they are martial arts experts.
Yeah, it's once again some kind of a fucking kung fu club or something like that.
Yeah. That's what you call a Mexican screw-up, gentlemen. I still don't know what that line means. When he's escaping from that facility, from those perimeters.
I don't even remember that moment.
He has gotten on the boat, and behind him is coming like 3,000 kung fu people following him, and then he catches the motor of the boat and is pointing it towards all these people and says that's what you call a Mexican screw-up, gentlemen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that you describe it, it really sounds weird.
It may not be the ninjas, it may just be an Oriental thing, because Oddjob was from Korea as well.
Yeah.
Who wasn't a kung fu guy, obviously, but it just seems that the villain tends to be from Asia quite a lot, or the henchman, or kind of the assistant henchman, should I say.
All right.
Yeah.
Next.
So, what pulled you guys in?
Well, my first thought was Dario, it seems, so there you go.
He can pull me off. I'm just joking.
Well, the realism, somewhat down-to-earth film, that it's different, and it's taking risks in the franchise. I don't think all people kind of understand that, actually, from Timothy Dalton's run. I think many people are thinking that, okay, he's just being serious in these films because he just doesn't know how James Bond should be, or what it's about, that they have miscast him in the role. But no. I can believe that's totally a casual watcher's idea, that after Roger Moore you come to this guy. But no, of course, we're doing films here and it's totally, everything is planned to the T, so of course it's meant to be there. Because that's what James Bond is in the books, in a way.
Yeah, if I would have to mention like one scene where I first really got glued with the film, it would once again be Felix Reiter being fed to the shark. Next would be Scissors of Sacrilege. What would you cut out of the film or change?
That is tough.
I on my end could go without the ninjas and without the wheelies.
You stole my answer.
I would go without the wheelies through the fireball, and I would go without I would rework the joke about Heller, the dead end, or just remove it.
I don't know. To me, the Heller joke kind of a toad. I read a lot into that joke in the way of how dark Blaze Bond is character-wise.
Yeah, okay.
Like I took it that Bond, the character, knows that this is the moment where I make a funny joke, but he's so far over the edge and he's so angry still that the only joke he manages is a complete failure.
I would also take out the ninja, because it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a weird I don't know, subplot, but it's a weird moment in the film.
Yeah, I on my end, I am fine with the subplot of the Chinese DEA, but the guys being ninjas, the ninjas just appear all of a sudden into the film, which has been relatively realistic up until that point. And they also quickly vanish after that moment. The ninjas appear, cut to the warehouse or whatever it is, the shack where they are holding Bond, and then they all get taken out. But with the notion of taking out, you guys can take out the finishing statement of the sentence. You really know you're watching The License to Kill when?
When James Bond stops smiling.
When you realize it's 007 and License to Spank.
When you kiss the bride and nothing happens to you.
Okay. I don't know if you can kiss the bride in Finland.
You can.
And get into a huge trouble. I know, but, you know, without anything bad happening to you, 3 adjectives to describe the film.
Gritty, dark, and dangerous. Now I got it there. Haha.
I will say charged, neurotic, violent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna steal something from both of you. Violent from Tom and dark from Karri, and as my own I will insert progressive.
Oh.
God damn. I'm hitting all the marks today.
Did you say progressive?
Yep.
Huh.
Because to me this most definitely was that.
You mean politically speaking, or?
I mean, like in many ways. Progressive in the way how it approaches the franchise. The dark edges, the violence, the more realistic storyline, the more realistic bad guy. But also with how it approaches the ladies. Like with the fact that at the very end of the film, it's Bond who has to jump after the lady from the balcony, and not the other way around like you see in basically any other film, or the fact that neither one of the ladies will just take the typical Bond shit from Bond this time. Like they actually, both of them, they stand their ground, and Bouvier even goes as far as tell Bond to, you know, keep his trap shut and take his shit back home. So, like, none of them are any major events in the film. The film doesn't make a fuss about that. It won't call your attention to what is happening. But what is actually happening is franchise-wise, it is quite remarkable.
It is also the film where Bond is not pushing the ladies. It's more like Loopy is pushing Bond to the bed.
Yeah, that also. And I, like said, all of them are extremely minor details and something that are not in your face. But I loved all of those moments. To me, it kind of stripped Bond some of that Übermensch, Superman, extreme spy image, which always has been kind of a hiccup for me, because I like my heroes more when they are being pushed. I like Bond more at the end of this film when he's like barely able to stand up when he rises from the wreckage, and he's bruised and he's bleeding.
Yeah.
And Sanchez has the machete on his throat like there, and Bond is almost helpless, except then he manages to pull that lighter out of his pocket and torches the fucker. But I really like that. I like when the hero has to push himself through pain and agony, both physical and emotional. That's one of the reasons why I feel that, for example, Die Hard films past Die Hard 3 have been in a downward spiral, because John McClane just doesn't get hit enough anymore.
True.
True. And they are missing the essence in so many ways. Like, of course, putting him into some kind of a daddy position where he's just kind of overlooking what is happening and not taking as much, maybe, part in the action. He's kind of just a granddad in the corner. Yeah.
In Die Hard 5, he's just kinda there. Like, goddamn, even McClane's son is driving the action more than McClane himself in Die Hard 5.
There's many things that they fuck up in the sequels. Would be interesting to analyze someday.
But for now, you can analyze the question: did you watch when watching this one?
Nope.
No.
Nope, also here. And as a closing up, would you recommend this film?
Yes.
Yes.
On my end, let me put it this way: there are people who don't like License to Kill, who think it's a bad Bond film and mistreats the character, and in my opinion, those people can go to hell.
Yeah.
Because I most definitely absolutely love License to Kill. I actually like this more than Daylights, and I liked Daylights a hell of a lot.
Okay. Good to hear.
I'm full on board with this one. Like, to me, this is better. I like the darker tone. I this is darker. This is more. The women are hotter. The film is darker. It has more realistic narrative. It has more horrible violence. It has a less Felix Leiter being able to walk. Like all around. I think this is like a standout in the franchise. Like definitely one of my go-to Bond films, which I would wholeheartedly recommend to everyone.
The thing is, I feel that the locations are sometimes very fancy. I feel that maybe the locations, then again, in some parts of the film are not impressive enough to look very interesting on screen. And on previous Bond episode, I said that this sometimes kind of feels like some kind of a TV series episode. I don't know about that, but some of the locations are not that inspiring. Maybe they are kind of realistic in that sense. I'm just saying that this doesn't look anywhere near as pretty as The Living Daylights. And neither does Bond, who looks like a angry iguana. The DP is the same as in The Living Daylights. Yeah, I just feel that the locations are not giving enough room to make as grandiose images. But I guess that's okay. But I don't get such of a big of a emotional feeling about some of these scenes. In that, in the way that they look. But the dialogue is better in the film. It's more suitable for Timothy Dalton's James Bond. And also I feel that this has taken an extremely dark twist here, which kind of makes me miss some of the Living Daylights Timothy Dalton performance, where he was more smiles and all that. And I understand that you can't really have that in this film that much. And that's why I'm a little bit sad that Dalton didn't get to do at least the third film, where he could have been, in a different emotional circumstances.
Yeah.
Because this guy is a bloody good actor.
He is. And it's a shame that his time with the franchise ends here at the license. With only just 2 films. He was given the chance to come to GoldenEye.
Yeah.
But the world had changed around Dalton so much that when Dalton was okay with doing another Bond film, now he would have had to agree to do at least 5. Like, he would have had to agree to take the franchise deal this time. And that was too much for Dalton, who didn't trust himself, I guess, enough to sign for 5 more Bond films.
Yeah, I don't know if actors of his caliber are generally interested in going so long with the franchise, but I guess that's something that you have to expect with James Bond. Then again, if this is really true, I have heard this true also. If this is really true that Cubby Broccoli came kind of a ultimatum situation, take this offer. No, you're not going to leave after or do only 1 film for us, because it's been such of a break. You need to do more, much more, in fact. And in a sense, I can understand why he turned it down. It had been a long time, still like 5 years, and then again, Daniel Craig has like 5-year breaks all the time. But yeah, he could have done more.
Much more.
Way more. And Bond team ignored the studio finance issues anyway, and they carried on penning the 3rd Dalton film. Michael Wilson was, according to rumors, was writing with Alphonse Ruggero Jr., writing a 17-page treatment. And John Glenn was thinking that the next film will probably be called Risico. Risico which is once again one of those short stories from For Your Eyes Only. And Ruggero had been writing for Miami Vice and Airwolf, so some fans were kind of concerned about that fact. They were considering China, Scotland, London, Hong Kong, Japan as possible locations. one version, at least this treatment, it would have taken place in a secret chemical weapons factory in Scotland. And a bomb squad was called in one scene, and they couldn't find the bomb. And then they leave. And now the factory machines go berserk. They start to malfunction, causing the whole factory to explode. Bond goes to investigate, and then has a face-off with Sir Henry Lee Ching, quote, a brilliant, handsome 30-year-old British-Chinese entrepreneur. And the plot there is to release a virus to completely shut down military and industrial and nuclear sites all over the world. So something like GoldenEye, really. And Bond penetrates Ching's headquarters in Hong Kong via some kind of sewer system. And at the end, he kills Ching with a blowtorch. There was also something about Broccoli reportedly trying to entertain the idea of having Hugh and Gloria Katz as the polishers of the treatment into a screenplay. These were working on the Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. And in 1993 May, Variety reported that Michael Franz from Cliffhanger was the guy signed on to do the next Bond film writing for $400,000. After that, the third Bond film for what was supposed to be a Dalton Bond film was pushed heavily into serious motion. Michael Franz delivered the first script draft in January 94. I think it was called GoldenEye already back then. And Pushkin was supposed to make a comeback in the film in very significant scenes. But the thing is that Dalton's contract expired in 93 and he decided to move on. And as we know, Dalton is kind of a private person, so I don't think there's much information about the circumstances of why, really. But yeah, Dalton was working on Scarlet, the sequel to Gone with the Wind, with Clark Gable. And from that set of Scarlet film, Dalton announced on April 12th on 1994 that he would not return as James Bond. Eon did make a press release about that fact and said, quote, "We have never thought of anyone but Timothy as the star of the 17th James Bond film, but the James Bond gods had something different in mind." And a few months later, Eon, of course, announced Pierce Brosnan as the next James Bond. And as we know, he was already signed to do The Living Daylights, but then things happened and Dalton thankfully was able to do too.
But with that out of the way, I guess that wraps around today's episode, and that wraps around the Timothy Dalton Bond era. So the next one, as you already foreshadowed, the next one we are going to check up would be Pierce Brosnan's run with the character.
And a lot of things happened between the 5-6 years. This is kind of an end of an era, as I see. The end of an era of the classic James Bond films. I think stylistically and in the fact that, of course, Guppy Broccoli, the original co-producer, died in June 96. And Maurice Binder died, the title designer, in 91. Michael Wilson, Barbara Broccoli are taking over as the producers from their father now. Kind of a nepotism going on throughout this Bond family thing, but that's okay. We're not running a country anyway. But yeah, Guppy said to Barbara and I think Wilson that don't screw it up, speaking of the film franchise. And it remains to be seen, dear listeners, if they did. So if you want to find out, you can hear about that much more during the last Thursday of December when we touch on GoldenEye. But of course we'll release an episode weekly, so fear not, we'll be back next week. So you can find us on Facebook, on Twitter and Instagram, YouTube. Anything else, or should I put my lab coat into the chopping machine?
Well, I for one, I'm heading outside of the lab to find some Mexican drug cartels to spank, so...
Wait for me.
And we can leave Tom here to get alone to keep the lights on.
Tom's lab.
Tom's lab. But yeah, hey, until next week, everyone. And most definitely our listeners.
Cheerios.
Our one listener, my brother.
Yeah, hey, shout out to Tom's brother. Nice to have you listening to this podcast.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah, you're a cool guy.
you at the casino with Tom. We need to speak in private. Tom is in danger. Henrik is no fool. He's checking up on him. You know, they find anything suspicious.
Listen, it's all right. Tom is safely in England. They do the episodes remotely.
You don't understand. Last night I stood with Tom.
At Henrik's house?
See, Henrik is going to the UK with a big gun. He leaves in an hour. You must help Tom. Anything happens to him, I don't know what I'll do. You know, I love the Flick Lab so much.
Look, you must go before you are missed. Now don't worry. Henrik probably just wants to share his notes with Tom personally. He's so dedicated. But we'll think of something. I love the Flick Lab so much. I'll be damned if I'll help them. Look, don't judge them too harshly, my dear. Podcasters must often use every means at their disposal to achieve their episodes. Bullshit!